We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
Joshua Lane, member of the board of directors of Dr. Ann Wigmore's Hippocrates Health Institute, Josh Lane was part of the Dr. Ann Wigmore team that brought wheatgrass, sprouts, and raw foods to a worldwide audience. And now the host of Here's to Your Health on LA Talk Live, Joshua Lane.
We're back. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Here's to Your Health on the LA Talk Live broadcast network. I'm your host, Joshua Lane. My guest is the psychiatrist Robin Berman. Dr. Berman is an MD teaching at UCLA and has written a book published just several weeks ago, Permission to Parent, about some of the issues with parenting today and how possibly some of the parents are empowering the children in ways that might be inappropriate. Dr. Berman, welcome to Here's to Your Health.
Thank you for having me.
Happy to have you. Very nice book, published just shortly, just a few weeks ago. And you have an undergraduate and graduate degree from where?
An undergraduate degree from Smith College and a graduate degree from Rush Medical College in Chicago.
And
I'm an associate professor at UCLA, David Geffen School of Medicine.
You have always been interested in emotion and wellness?
Yes, I think emotion is such a key part of wellness. I think your mind, your spirit, your mind, body, it's all one, it's all connected. And for me, it's super important to think about how to grow that wellness in a child and where it begins and where you learn to love. And that's at home. And so I love that this generation is paying more attention to wanting their kids' needs to be more central. But I think we've just overcorrected. We've gone a little overboard in the other direction, never wanting to say no and letting kids negotiate for a long time. And I think that actually is the opposite of wellness for children, because I think it creates anxiety for a child to have that much power. And it's really nice to look up to somebody bigger, stronger, wiser, older than you, also known as parents.
Right. Give me a concrete example of what might be potentially a parenting error. Let's talk about food and a parenting error. Let's do food first.
Okay, so it's interesting. Children, wanting to make children's needs more central, parents are having a difficult time saying no to kids. And so we know that drinking soda pop and giving them too many sugary sweets is not good for children. Parents seem a little tripped up by just saying no. And no is a complete sentence. No does not begin a negotiation. No is my final answer. I think the balance, the new middle, is holding the feeling but holding the line. I know you want that cookie. We don't have cookies before dinner. So then you're holding both. You're honoring their feeling. You're saying, I understand you. I get you want this, but I'm in charge and I'm going to do what I know is best for you, best for your health, best for your wellness.
I have seen children and parents shopping, and the children, sometimes the parents will say to them, and the children are very little, they're 3, they're 4, they're 5, do you want this? Should I buy this? And I always thought to myself, well, that's well-intentioned, but that's not going anywhere. I mean, they're 3, 4, 5. I mean, it's not up to them to choose, should I buy this? It's just.
I totally agree. And what's interesting, again, this pendulum shift from children were seen and not heard to children are very, very central, is parents want to empower children.
Right.
So they're giving them a ton of choices. But what we know about brain development is kids' frontal lobes are in the very early stages of development. So they don't even have the capacity to think through at that point which cereal is best and why and how that's going to affect their health and roll it forward. That's called executive function. It's not even formed yet. So it always cracks me up. Parents, it's adorable. They're trying to empower. I understand you want the pasta at a restaurant or you want the chicken. That's okay. But getting into let's have you plan the meal at the grocery store might be a little overboard.
What other researchers have you read to develop your ideas?
Well, what I did was, as a psychiatrist, I hear all day what goes wrong with childhood. My dad did this, my mother did that. So I had a calling to find out what goes right. So I went on a mission. For about a year and a half, I interviewed professors, pediatricians, coaches, teachers, who knows the most about kids? And then ultimately, really, kids who turned out great. And then I interviewed their parents. What did you do? Share your secrets. Tell me what you know. And then I pooled all of their collective wisdom into Permission to Parent. So it becomes this parenting Rolodex. Because I do think back in the day, we had communities to raise our children. We did have the village. And today, people feel they're single parents and two parents who are working and away, and a lot of stress that we didn't have. So this is my parenting Rolodex, and I offer it up to all the parents so that when they need a little help, somebody said it's like my peace at my nightstand. I've been getting just beautiful emails about the book that it really has inspired me to step up and be a better parent. And ultimately, that was my whole goal, was to have parents really be inspired to do it well.
One of the stories you share is, parents are at a table chatting, children have run off to some little fort somewhere, and they're coming back, and two different children want to talk to two different moms about what they just found. Can you go through that?
Yeah, that's actually one of my, I believe that story is about the power of language and how that influences mental health, because how we talk to ourselves, if we talk to ourselves with a really critical voice, we tend to get depressed. And if we talk to ourselves with a lot of fear statements, we tend to get anxious. I'm oversimplifying, but neurochemistry backs this up, that with each thought, there's a neurochemical. So the example I chose was, it'll stay with me probably for the rest of my life. I was at a long picnic table at the base of a mountain, and two little kids ran up and they discovered a spy fort. And they were so excited to share their story. This little boy, James, says to his mom, Mom, and she's talking to a grown-up, and she said, just lovingly, James, honey, wait for the pause. There's going to be a pause in this conversation. Adults will pause. When there's a pause, you jump in. And so James was so excited. He's waiting on the left. And a little boy on the right, Steve, the mother said, stop interrupting. She was trying to teach him manners. And then he kept saying, but Mom, we found this amazing full spy fort. And then she said, shut up. Didn't you hear me? Stop interrupting. And I thought, wow, what an incredible difference. Wait for the pause versus shut up. Both parents trying to teach their kids manners. But one is very conscious. I would call that a conscious mom, knowing that words are a way of loving your child. So if you say, wait for the pause, that little boy sat there and waited, enthusiasm alive and well. And the other little boy, it was kind of crushing to watch. Tears in his eyes, walked away. Probably never will tell his mom about the spy fort he discovered. So the power of words. I also learned as a psychiatrist, when I was in the emergency room, you get a call at 3 a.m. from someone who would say, I'm going to kill myself. And the power of what words I would choose and what tone I would use sometimes was the difference between life and death. And so that was my first lesson in, wow, words and tone are so powerful. So I have a whole chapter called Don't Trash Talk. Not like in the MBA, but use mindful language to empower your children. And it's powerful.
That's really good advice. I think a lot of people know that, but maybe people get sloppy.
Yeah, yes.
And, because language is really powerful. It's really surprising how powerful language is. Something that someone said to you, a parent or someone in school said to you a long time ago, I bet every one of us as adults carry around a lot of stuff people said to us that we thought, that made me feel bad. And 30 years later or 40 years later or 50 years later, you remember.
Absolutely. That's why that expression, sticks and stones can break your bones, but names will never hurt me. I totally disagree. Names hurt.
Oh, yeah.
Name calling hurts. You remember if a parent called you lazy or selfish. Or one of my stories from a woman in her middle age, she was 45, she said, my mom told me I was a terrible singer, and never to sing too loudly. And she said, would you believe I still mouth happy birthday and I'm 45 years old? And that's how lasting that tape is. Our parents are the voice in our heads on automatic replay. It just keeps going again and again and around and around. And we want to put it, like we're the computer installers. We want to put in the chips that empower our children. And yes, you're right. It is hard because we do get tired and sloppy, but it's never too late.
That's putting a good face on it. Some people really are just indifferent. And some people, as parents, are just downright mean, aren't they? Or crazy.
I think that they're not conscious. I think loving your kid is an instinct. Everybody loves their child. I think to be a good parent is a teachable skill. And that's why I wanted a toolbox, this permission to parent as a toolbox. How do you teach these skills? And language is definitely one of them. And nobody sets out to be mean. Often in therapy sessions, I'll have a college kid come back with his mother and said, you said this, and she said, really? I don't even remember. I didn't think you would take that critically. Sometimes what we just say, we think we're being constructive, can come out as critical in our children's minds. So that's why it's really important. I always say breathe, pause, parent, reflect, so that you don't reflexively vomit out everything your parent told you. Because the truth is, parenting comes as naturally as the way you were parented. So if you want to do it differently, it does require some conscious effort. It really does.
It does require effort, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
And also, the expectations are different one generation to the next. For example, in your profession, Sigmund Freud was the first to, in essence, say, we humans have an interior life. We're not just plumbers or carpenters or doctors or attorneys. We have an interior life. That was a pretty radical thought at the time. It was like very radical.
And I think that's a beautiful thing to think about children. These children have an interior life that needs to be cherished and shepherded. You need to shepherd that little soul inside. But today, the shift is to external resumes, to getting kids into the best school, to doing flashcards when they're very young. I had a woman show up at UCLA saying, I'm behind, tearful. I never played music in utero. I'm thinking, and
really?
she was
No kidding?
serious.
Oh, that's great. Oh, my
serious. I said, you're kidding. Your kid's in a onesie. How are you behind? Behind what? But this is the struggle that parents that a lot of it was interesting. The teachers I interviewed said they noticed a shift in parental anxiety after 9/11. That parents got very nervous after 9/11, that there was an anxiety in the ethos and they were going to get their kids a head start. And that head start meant academically, or they were going to become a violinist, or they were going to become the best athlete and end up getting a scholarship. But what happens is we're forgetting about that internal life. We're so focused on building their exterior resume, which in large part is very unrealistic to think we can line up our kids' future at AYSO 5-year-old soccer.
It's pretty unrealistic, yeah.
It is pretty unrealistic, and not even the smartest goal at the end of the day.
Excuse me, so these are parents that you're mentioning now who really are in their 20s now. Is that what we're talking about? Parents in their 20s now with this kind of attitude?
Honestly, parents in their 20s, I've seen parents in their early 50s who are screaming at the sidelines of their kids' games like it's life and death. Right. And my favorite story, I witnessed with my own eyes, which almost wouldn't believe if I didn't see with my own eyes. It was a 10-year-old basketball game, and the guy sitting next to me, trying to be a well-intended, involved father, was screaming at his child, what are you doing? That's the wrong play. No! And exasperated and frustrated. And it was very difficult for me to concentrate because he was yelling so loudly. I kind of wondered how his child was able to even pay attention to the basketball. And apparently he wasn't, because he called a timeout. And he walked up into the stands and he looked at his father and he said, you're embarrassing me. This is 10-year-old basketball. I'm not in the NBA. That? The kid said that.
Well, that's the child shows a lot of presence. I mean, could you imagine you doing that when you were 10 years old to your mom or dad?
No.
I certainly, not in a million years.
No. So in some way, you actually bring up a very deep psychological point. The fact that he was able to articulate and have a voice meant that he felt some safety with his dad. Right. That's actually very deep psychological insight there.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. I have all sorts of deep...
that was actually very impressive.
No, but it is interesting now how parents really are there for the kids at the games, which, is not a terrible thing, actually. It's nice, because if you're playing football or baseball or tennis, whatever you're playing, and your mom and dad are in the stands, is anything better than that? The answer is no. Is anything better for a child than to hang out with your mom or your dad? I think the answer is no. What's better? Nothing.
I agree. I agree with that. The fact that they want to be present is so lovely. And a lot of them say, well, my dad was never at my game, so I want to be there for the child. So the assumption is it's necessarily a good thing. I might argue that a father who's exasperated and disappointed and berating his child from the sidelines might be doing more harm than good. And so I think that's the twist of this generation. It's a little tricky because we look so involved, but are we involved in the right ways? I've seen fathers what did you, walking with their kids 10 feet in front of them after a game, berating them at what they could have done differently.
Right.
And you see the disappointment in the child's eyes. So I think kids learn a lot when parents aren't there. I interviewed a Hall of Famer, Sue Enquist, a coach at UCLA, and she said, parents today don't let the game breathe. Kids learn most when they're doing for themselves, but they don't have an opportunity today. She said it's not the kids who are different, it's the parents. So I might argue that coming to every game and constantly interfering by yelling play-by-plays or berating your child might be doing more harm than good.
And do you see since you and I are of the same generation, did you feel that, as a person who understands emotion and studies emotion, that we, as boomers, are very different from our parents, and that the ones that are our children are very different from us? Do you feel there's a real separation among the generations?
Well, I think the separation of this generation is really, I'm seeing it loud and clearly in my office, that these parents were super well-intended and they felt neglected, and they were the generation of children were seen and not heard. Children had no needs. Discipline was swift and corporal. Your mouth got washed out with soap, which is insane. You were locked in your room. And this baby boomer generation rebelled against that. But I think we've overcorrected, turning into a generation of parent pleasers. And I think it's impossible for a parent to fix everything and rush in and do for a child, because in a way, we're unintentionally hurting our children. If we go argue the teachers say, tell the parents to stop. Can you put in your book, tell the parents to stop arguing grades? Tell the parents to stop emailing me about their kids' college paper. The umbilical cord is carried all the way to college. I interviewed a law professor at Harvard, and he said, I literally want to say, you are not in law school. Your child isn't. So we've bubble wrapped and helicoptered and again, well-intended, but I don't think it worked out as we thought it would.
See, for those of you just tuning in to Here's to Your Health today on the LA Talk Live broadcast network, we're speaking with Robin Berman, MD, psychiatrist, teaching at UCLA. Her brand new book, Permission to Parent, been out about 3 weeks. Nice read. Very important to read this book. I think you'll find it fun if your children are parents now, or if you're parents now, or you're going to be parents. Read the book. It's just like, and you think, oh, okay, seems very straightforward after you write it. It seems like makes perfect sense the way you write it in the book.
It's interesting. I'm getting a lot of emails saying, wow, it seems like this makes so much sense, but you're telling it with a kind hand and a gentle voice. And I really felt like, parents want to do their best. And so this book is just to support them. The sweetest email I received last week was from a grandmother in North Dakota. And she said, I really want to do it differently for my children. And so I think that's an important thing. I did it one way for my children, but I want to do it differently for my grandchildren. And so I think at any stage of the journey, we can kind of raise ourselves so that we raise our children differently. I think that's the trick in the title, Permission to Parent. In one sense, I've noticed parents are having a really hard time disciplining their children and taking their rightful position as captain of the family ship. They have really ambivalent feelings about that. But the other second meaning of permission to parent is when you have a child, if done right, you kind of have to look back at your own childhood and put to rest some ghosts from your own childhood. So it's also permission to parent yourself. So that's the double meaning of permission to parent.
And you mentioned a word that everyone knows is super important and forgets sometimes to implement, kindness. Mm-hmm. Kindness actually is amazingly important, isn't it? Ultimately, isn't that everything, kindness?
Yes. Right. And I think that's what really trips us up about this competition thing. As a psychiatrist, people are happy when they're connected, right? Not in competition with each other, but when they're working together and when they feel that human kindness and when they're doing for others and when they're helping a friend. One mother told me that her kid was about to win the race in elementary school and his best friend tripped and he stopped to pick up his friend and lost the race. But he won the race.
That's cool.
He won the real race. He has kindness, and that's all you want to instill in your children. And I think today with video games, violent video games where kids win points by shooting up people, and that empathy needs a place to grow and develop. And as a parent, kindness, empathy, compassion, these are real gifts. And I think
that you learn from your parents
Yes.
more than anybody else, right?
Yes,
Right.
that you learn from your parents. And I think we're a little short-sighted now, thinking that winning the game is worth cheating. I've seen parents on the sidelines rigging drafts and cheating and all that. And I'm thinking, the real message is you want to create a kid of character and a kid who's kind, right? Those are theirs for life. Soccer, by the time they're in high school or college, maybe that's going to fall by the wayside. But kindness, character, all that's a legacy. How you felt loved by your parents is the whole thing. We remember it long after they're here. We
Right.
feel that legacy, We
No,
carry that
certainly
with
do.
us.
Dr. Berman, is there a big gender difference among children today? And is there a big gender difference in how the moms and dads that are in their 20s or 30s today parent, or is there not a gender difference?
It's interesting. All the studies are showing that this newer generation is introducing electronics earlier, not necessarily gender difference between the parents, but that the younger you are as a parent, the quicker you are to introduce electronics. So I was on a flight back from spring vacation with millions of kids, and I was thinking we are in a new world, because normally there'd be boisterous kids laughing and playing and, doing puzzles, and everybody was on their iPad swiping away. And in a plane, of course, it's nice for grown-ups that nobody's kicking the back of your seat.
Right.
But from a developmental standpoint, we have to watch how we introduce all that into a kid's life. There's a new study coming out of UCLA that talks about how when you go into nature, you're better able to read facial expressions. 1 week without electronics, and you can read facial expressions more clearly. So this whole introducing electronics early is definitely a generational thing, not necessarily a gender thing. But I think having women and men in the workforce together, I think there was some parental guilt. And I think that also was the trouble with saying no in this generation, that a lot of moms said to me, I was actually on the Today Show, and one of the women who worked at the Today Show said, I feel so guilty. I come home, I have 1 hour with my daughter. I do not want to say one negative thing. And I was thinking, boy, that's a tough order for a parent. If you're not going to, discipline means to teach. If a teaching moment comes up and you don't want to do it because you feel guilty or you're too tired, that's a disservice to a child.
And are the young males and females different from we boomers? Because they're certainly different from the grandparents.
They're certainly different from their grandparents.
Right.
I don't know if you ever saw that movie with Billy Crystal, Parental Guidance. It actually did a perfect kind of nutshell of the generational grandparents and this new age of parenting. And the parents were the no because I said so, and this new age was, oh, tell me why no doesn't feel good for you. And I think the truth is in the middle usually is anyway, of all of this, that there's a graceful place in the middle where you can respect a parent and you can respect a child. And so I think my whole book is, let's find a graceful new middle between these two extremes where you can hold the feeling, you can hold the line. I know, you really wanted to go to that party, but we already accepted another invitation to another party, and we have to honor that. You hold the feeling, you hold the line. That's really, really the problem with this generation, is they feel guilty, they're exhausted, and so they just throw a barking dog a bone rather than taking the time to work it through. And I really think that if you put the time in early, you just pay such great dividends for the rest of your life.
Well, I've seen, I'm a grocer by trade, so I spend a lot of time in grocery stores, and when I'm not working in my own grocery store, I spend time in other people's grocery stores for whatever reason. That's the way I seem to be. And I've seen little children wanting cookies or candy or soda, and they are really going to wail. I mean, some of these little children have great lungs. I mean, you can hear them every aisle. They want it, and they want it now. And the parents, sometimes, the parents are a little embarrassed, just thinking, oh, my God, I got this one at home doing this to me. Right. And they give them the soda, they give them the cookies, because those kids are really wailing. And that's a bad situation.
It is, because if your no means maybe, if you say no, you can't have the cookies, no, you can't have the soda pop, and your no means maybe, what you're teaching kid is whine louder, throw a bigger tantrum, and you're going to have the cookies and the soda pop.
Right.
You're going to get your way, and that's not safe ultimately for children. It's like a president who's in charge of a country or a teacher who's in charge of a classroom. It's very safe for a child to have your no mean no. Because when no means maybe, it's wiggle room, and the tantrums get bigger, and the parents get exhausted, and then the parents say, I start screaming and yelling at my child because I've said no 15 times. But it's like if you ever go to Vegas, and I'm not a gambler, but you put a quarter in a slot machine and you keep putting in a quarter, and 1 out of every 100 times you might win the jackpot. That's what we're teaching kids. Whine louder, keep going, and maybe you'll get that cookie. But if you're consistently saying no and follow through, the little negotiator kind of stops, and it's very peaceful, and it makes parenting easier.
Well, the negotiation that I remember as a kid was, your dad says no, you to ask your mom. Dad says no, ask your mom. Usually it was no from both because my parents were hip, but it was like, you learn negotiation. You learn that pretty early.
Yes.
You learn everything from your parents. I mean, you're just kind of a
breathe,
little copy.
You breathe those relationships. You are a little copy. And I think that's why it's so important to model a good, if let's say you're in a marriage that's struggling, it's so important to kind of shield your children from hurtful language, because they take that on. They're breathing the relationships in the home.
Right.
And everybody can download love more purely. We all have an ability to speak with more kindness, and they are like sponges. At the last chapter of my book, I interviewed kids, and I went into Compton and I said, what did you learn from your mother? And this boy said, kids are like sponges. My parents were kind and respectful. That's what I soaked up.
That's what the kid said?
That's what the kid said.
Was it a teenage boy who said that?
Teenage boy, right?
Nice.
It was amazing how wise the kids were at the end. One kid said, my parents say don't yell, but they yell. They say have patience, but they lose theirs. It's not the kids who need to change, it's the parents. We just copy them. And then she said, it seems like Captain Obvious to me. I thought it was adorable. She was like, basically like, duh. It's the parents. We are copying. They are our models. And that's why taking a moment and, if we blow it, which we do every day of our lives as parents, we say the wrong thing, we have a delivery we're not proud of, we repair it on the spot. Neuroscience shows us, so if you let something go, it's the difference between just being scared or scarred. Right? So if you blow it and scream and yell at your child and use kind of language you're not proud of, and you're stupid or lazy or I told you so or whatever happens, and you go in there and apologize immediately, I made a mistake. There was a better way I could have handled it. If I could do it again, if I had a mommy do-over or a daddy do-over, it would look like this. And that is very reparative for a child.
Yeah, I think so. And for adult too, I think, actually.
You are psychologically savvy. Yes.
Absolutely, yeah.
And for an adult too.
Yeah, if you screw up and you have a friend and you screw up and you say, oh, I screwed up, I think your friends will kind of give you a pass, largely.
Yes.
They'll think, okay, fine, he said this, that was a dopey thing to say, and then very quickly, 5-10 minutes later, a day later, whatever, said, okay, I was an error, I was an error. I think your friends will kind of say, oh, okay, fine. We get it.
It's very healing and very disarming to apologize. It's a huge
and it's nice to get it because you don't always get it, but
it's
when you
lovely.
do get it, you're kind of happy to get it.
It's a sign of being an emotional grown-up.
I think so. Oh, good.
So you pass.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We've been speaking with Dr. Robin Berman, her new book, Permission to Parent. Very nicely done. Where can we buy your book?
You can buy it on Amazon. You can buy it at Barnes & Noble, bookstores around the country.
Good to help you sell a lot of these. It's a nice book.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, this is Here's to Your Health on the LA Talk Live broadcast network. I'm your host, Joshua Lane. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back after these important messages.
We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
It started out like a totally normal day.
I love you.
I mean, I guess I was a little sweaty and I was definitely sore. I thought I had gas. Turns out I was having a heart attack. Heart disease is the #1 killer of American women. So now I take care of myself and tell the other women in my life to do the same. Make it your mission to save your life and the lives of the women you love. Find out more from the American Heart Association at goredforwomen.org.
How's it going? I'm having a stroke. Young Connection, your one-stop connection for all your graphic design and commercial printing needs. Young Connection is a full-service printing and media design company dedicated to providing the highest level of customer service and satisfaction. Young Connection provides swift response and rapid turnaround services for banners, brochures, business cards, letterheads, church bulletins, funeral programs, flyers, logo design, posters, and much, much more, all at an affordable price. Young Connection, the official printing company of LA Talk Live. Give them a call at 310-491-3336. That's 310-491-3336, or visit their website at www.youngconnection.com. That's www.youngconnection.com. Young Connection Printing and Media Services, proud sponsors of LA Talk Live, where it's more than just talk.
Hi, this is Dr. Levi, your fitness doctor, making a personal house call, inviting you to join me Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific for my all-new show, The Dr. Levi Show. Join us as we discuss fitness, health, and well-being, including emotional and spiritual health. So don't forget to tune in to The Dr. Levi Show every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific, exclusively on latalklive.com and the Talk Live Broadcast Network. You can also catch us on iTunes, Radio R&B, or watch us on Ustream.tv, or catch us on the Live 365 network, and now on Radio Flag and Stitcher Radio. Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Hi, this is Elena, inviting you to join me every Wednesday at noon for Elena's Beauty Talk and more, exclusively on LA Talk Live. You can also catch us on iTunes, Radio, R&B, or watch us on Ustream.tv. Reality radio, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Hi, this is Dawn Christie, inviting you to join me every Friday, 1 p.m. Pacific, for my all-new show, The Dawn Christie Show. Join me as I discuss love, spiritual readings, your purpose, why am I born, what am I here to do. So don't forget to tune in The Dawn Christie Show at 1 p.m. Pacific, exclusively on LA Talk Live. You can also catch us on iTunes, Radio R&B, or watch us on Ustream TV, reality radio, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Joshua Lane, member of the board of directors of Dr. Ann Wigmore's Hippocrates Health Institute, Josh Lane was part of the Dr. Ann Wigmore team that brought wheatgrass, sprouts, and raw foods to a worldwide audience. And now the host of Here's to Your Health on LA Talk Live, Joshua Lane.
We're back. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Here's to Your Health on the LA Talk Live broadcast network. I'm your host, Joshua Lane. My guests are calling in. They're the authors Florence Strang and Susan Gonzalez. Florence and Susan, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Hi.
Is this
Susan.
Florence or Susan? Hello.
Yes.
So Susan, what is please tell my listening audience the title of your book.
The title of our book is 100 Perks of Having Cancer, plus 100 Health Tips for Surviving It.
Now, obviously, you have on the front cover is a cartoon, and you try to make light of a very difficult situation. And may I ask, were you or Florence cancer survivors?
Yes, we're both stage 3 breast cancer survivors. And I just wanted to correct you. We don't make light of cancer. Cancer is a very serious illness.
Yes.
What we're trying to do is bring cancer to people in a way that they can digest it and look at it so that they'll really consider making some lifestyle changes.
And what are some of the lifestyle changes, if I can ask on a personal level, that you learned to make and did make and found were positive?
Sure. Well, there's 4 aspects of lifestyle changes with cancer prevention and fighting cancer. One of them is food. So we promote a mainly whole food, plant-based diet, and we know for years, and study after study demonstrates that reducing or eliminating animal products from our diet will reduce our risk of cancer. And for some cancers, it can reduce the risk up to 30%. The next thing is affirmations. So we believe in a mind-body connection. Affirmations are statements of belief. So we believe that when you are telling your mind to do something, your body will follow. Next is meditation. We totally believe in taking time out to meditate, to make your brain tell your body what to do, tell it to heal, tell it to be happy, tell it to have more energy. And then the last is exercise. And the new studies that are coming out are amazing, and they're showing that with certain exercise, you can reduce your risk of cancer by 40%. So all of these things together have to be instituted for a cancer survivor or cancer prevention lifestyle.
Well, Susan Gonzalez, you mentioned the word reduction of animal protein. Can you please tell my listening audience what animal protein is?
Sure. Animal protein is any product that comes from an animal. So obviously beef would be one, pork, chicken, but also fish, eggs, dairy. Dairy is a huge cancer promoter. So we always tell people if you're going to start with something, try to start with eliminating dairy from your diet. And luckily there are so many good alternatives for dairy. I don't think people have to eliminate having certain products just because they're eliminating dairy, but anything coming from an animal.
So, excuse me, Susan, you're saying that, in your opinion, cow's milk, cheese, yogurt, ice cream, butter, based on your information, are problematic for the cancer patient?
Yes, definitely, and it's not just my opinion. It's research. There's a book called The China Study, written by Dr. T. Colin Campbell. He actually grew up on a dairy farm as a child, and spent all of his years researching and looking at science and looking at nutrition. And he's come to the very 100% conclusion that dairy does promote cancer. So dairy in certain diets, when we look around the world, we find that the places where dairy is not consumed has the lowest incidence of cancers.
Now, you are a breast cancer survivor, and
yes.
May I ask, when were you diagnosed with breast cancer?
I was diagnosed in 2005 with stage 3. I had a double mastectomy and went through chemotherapy.
So that sounds like there was a lot of suffering there, and then what did you do?
Well, I'm a registered nurse, and I also worked as a cardiac rehab nurse. So I knew that for every other illness, diabetes, heart disease, we have cancer rehabilitation programs. We have specific programs telling people, here's the program, here's the step-by-step instructions on how to live a cancer-free life. So, but we found that did not exist for cancer patients. It only exists for other diseases. So we set out, Florence and I, to write a book to give people a manual what to do after cancer to prevent reoccurrence and also to reduce their risk in general.
Susan, because you are a registered nurse and because you did suffer with cancer and you did talk about problems associated with the use of cow's milk products vis-a-vis the cancer patient, what is your position as far as using processed sugar and the cancer patient?
Yeah, that's another huge no-no. In fact, there's a whole chapter on sugar here, and the 2 top researchers from Stand Up to Cancer, which is Stand Up to Cancer is a huge organization that groups researchers from all over the world together. The top 2 cancer researchers studying sugar and cancer both do not eat sugar at all in their diet, and one of the doctors actually said, sugar scares me. So processed sugar obviously is huge in the American diet and in most of North America as well. And it is a direct factor in cancer promotion, definitely.
So you're not saying that sugar causes cancer, but that sugar makes tumors grow. Is that what you're saying?
Well, in the most simple terms, sugar feeds cancer, and it also overworks your liver. So your poor liver is what has to filter out all the toxins, and it also is responsible for providing, utilizing the antioxidants correctly. So if your liver is shot from having too much sugar, if your liver is tired and weak and overworked, you're not going to be able to filter properly. Those toxins just get recirculated and redeposited in fat tissue, brain tissue, and all over your body.
And Susan Gonzalez, you are a registered nurse. And where'd you go to school?
I went to Malloy College on Long Island. I'm originally from Long Island, but settled here in Atlanta.
And when you talk about not eating sugar, for the listeners of LA Talk Live today and for everyone hearing us, are you talking about that I shouldn't be eating apples, or are you talking about I shouldn't really be eating soda, drinking soda?
Yeah, definitely the processed sugar in the soda. Most of the food we eat, or all the food we eat, really turns to quote unquote sugar. Now, what we as people that don't study chemistry think of as sugar is the white stuff on your table that you add to your coffee.
Right.
And that's the processed sugar that goes into foods like sodas, baked goods, cookies. Fruit has fructose, which is technically sugar, but when you're eating an apple, you're eating the whole thing. You're eating the fiber. Fiber is huge in cancer prevention. The more fiber you eat, the less risk you'll have of cancer, because the fiber actually allows that sugar to be processed at a slow pace so that your liver can digest it. It's not a huge shot of sugar to your liver. So that's the difference. The processed sugar raises your blood sugar way too fast. Your liver cannot respond. Eating things like apples and pears and bananas, your body can process that type of sugar because it has the fiber and it's much more easy for your system to digest.
And Susan, would you say that now with your, I'm assuming, much more careful lifestyle, now that you know things now you didn't really know, say, 10 or 15 years ago, do you feel healthier now than you did 10 or 15 years ago?
Absolutely. There's no doubt in my mind. And, it's funny, as I started changing my diet and eating cleaner foods, which is absolutely no processed foods, just foods that come from the earth, my mind is so much clearer. My thought process and my meditative, my spiritual aspects, everything about my mind has actually improved with the improvement of my diet. So I thought that was interesting as well.
And what about your energy levels now? Do you feel can you do much more? Can you do a better day's work now than 10 or 15 years ago?
I would say definitely. I really thought I was eating healthy and leading a healthy lifestyle before, but I realized since in doing all the research that you really have to have all the aspects in order to have that high energy level and to function at your optimal level.
And may I ask, do you feel that in general, say and particularly in your case, while you may have developed breast cancer, do you feel there was any environmental component? For example, in Suffolk County on Long Island, wasn't the area used to be potato fields? They were very heavily sprayed, and I do believe that Suffolk County on Long Island has a very high incidence of breast cancer.
Yes, in fact, the National Institute of Health did study that. I'm surprised you know that. Not many people know that. The NIH actually went out there and did studies to look at why that was so. They looked at power lines. They looked at the pesticides from the potato farms and such leaching into the water supply. And they never came up with a conclusive answer, but I don't believe it's one thing. Mm-hmm. I think it's a combination of things. We have so many things in our life that is putting us at risk for cancer. We have our water supply, which is horrible. Even if you have very good water supplies in your county, in your town, the water's still filled with pharmaceuticals because they can't filter that out. It's filled with chlorine. It's filled with other chemicals that chlorine make when it mixes with impurities. It's filled with bacteria. So we know that all of these things in combination with stress from our lifestyle, with the processed foods that we're eating, with our environmental toxins that we're putting on our bodies, especially women. We put makeup on, we put lotion on. All these things have chemicals in them that immediately get absorbed into our, go directly to our breast tissue, our fat, and they do affect our health and well-being.
They certainly do. Well, Susan Gonzalez, it's been a great pleasure having you call in. And where can we buy your book?
You can buy it on Amazon.com, or you can go to 100perksofcancer.com to read excerpts from the book, to find out more about us, watch some videos, and have links there where you can purchase the book. 100perksofcancer.com.
Well, Susan Gonzalez, thank you very much for calling. I very much appreciate the intelligent information. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
You have been listening to Here's to Your Health on the LA Talk Live broadcast network. I'm your host, Joshua Lane. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back after these important messages.
Thank you for tuning in to LA Talk Live, reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we're more than just talk. Stay tuned.
It started out like a totally normal day.
I love you.
I mean, I guess I was a little sweaty and I was definitely sore. I thought I had gas. Turns out I was having a heart attack. Heart disease is the #1 killer of American women. So now I take care of myself and tell the other women in my life to do the same. Make it your mission to save your life and the lives of the women you love. Find out more from the American Heart Association at goredforwomen.org.
How's it going? I'm having a stroke. Are you going to shake my hand? I'm having a stroke.
Member of the Board of Directors of Dr. Ann Wigmore's Hippocrates Health Institute, Josh Lane was part of the Dr. Ann Wigmore team that brought wheatgrass, sprouts, and raw foods to a worldwide audience. And now the host of Here's to Your Health on LA Talk Live, Joshua Lane.
We're back. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Here's to Your Health on the LA Talk Live broadcast network. My guest, Pete Overgard, Hollandia Produce Company. If you're watching us today on the site, LA Talk Live, I have all this lovely greenery on the black table. We mentioned it looks good. Green on black looks fantastic. Pete, welcome to Here's to Your Health.
Hi, Josh. Thank you. It's great to be here.
Thank you. What do we have here? What am I seeing? Is this hydroponic lettuce?
Yeah, so we specialize in greenhouse hydroponically grown greens. So all of our lettuces and cresses, they're all hydroponically grown in our greenhouses.
So what does that mean exactly?
It means grown on water. So the roots are hanging in the water, and the nutrients that the plants need are in the water. So as the water flows past the roots are pulling out the nutrients that they need to grow.
So don't the plants feel deprived that they have no soil to cling to? How do they handle that?
They handle it very well because they actually don't need that. The soil is actually just a place for the roots to be and something to hold the moisture if they were to be growing outside. So they actually make less roots because what they need is right there for them. So the energy is able to be focused on growing the plant instead of making more roots searching for nutrients.
Now, hydroponic, I'll use the word gardening, the idea of hydroponic gardening, kind of became popular in the early 60s, didn't it a little bit? Became kind of popular?
Yeah, it did, and it kind of stayed stable, but recently there's been quite an explosion. There's a lot of tower gardens advertise and various things, and every day there's a story about hydroponics. So it's quite a quite an explosion of interest.
And where does hydroponic gardening fit in with the whole idea of organically grown fruits and vegetables?
So organic hydroponics is a little more difficult because of the controlling the pH and what the nutrients to use. You can't just throw some manure in there and keep your fingers crossed. So it's a lot trickier.
Right.
So it took us about 5 years of a lot of research to figure out how to get our process going.
And the advantage for the consumer on hydroponic, is the nutrient mix better? Does it have better shelf life? Does it taste better? Is it less money? What are the advantages for me?
It does cost a little more on the shelf. There's no question there, but you get more because the whole, in our case, the whole head of lettuce, all the leaves are usable, and since we're able to leave the roots on, it keeps the whole head of lettuce fresh. Right. So you're not throwing any away. You might be gone for a few days, come back, and the rest of your lettuce is still very tasty.
So as I can take this, what is this?
That's our upland cress.
Oh, this is watercress?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, so if I go home and put this watercress in a little bowl of water, I'll have a little plant for a day or two, won't I? It'll just grow before I want to eat it up.
Yep, correct. We recommend to keep it in the fridge to keep it longer, but if you're going to eat it right away, to put it in a little bit of water would be fine.
And if I put it in water, will it kind of bloom a little bit?
That would take a few more weeks.
Well, I mean, would it actually get, would it get full of water in the leaves and kind of look firm and good?
Yes, it would get a little more turgid. Yes. Yeah.
What's the word?
Turgid. That the leaves would be more denser.
By the way, speaking of watercress, someone recently who I respect, who's an herbalist, said that watercress is just a remarkably important medicinal herb.
Yes, and that may have been Dr. Oz. He brought it up on his show that how healthy it is and cancer fighting it is.
It may have been Oz. Yeah, actually, it may have been. You're right. I forget exactly. Yeah, I guess it was Oz. I guess you're right. He seems to be the important guy.
And we actually have a superfood certification. We had our watercress and our upland cress tested in a lab for the antioxidant levels, and it has high levels of lutein, so it qualifies as a superfood. So we went through the process to have that certification so everyone can understand that this is the real deal.
And what do I do with watercress? Do I put it in a salad? Is that it?
Mix it in the salad. It's great on sandwiches. Just spread the leaves on the sandwich. And watercress soup is also very popular.
Watercress soup. And may I ask you a question? How long have you been in the produce biz?
About 25 years. Before that, we were growing flowers in our greenhouses, and we evolved to vegetables.
So you and your family have been doing agriculture for a long time.
Yes.
Could you ever have envisioned that I could go into Ralph's or Vons and there'd be an entire section devoted to kale? Could you ever? No, because none of us. I mean, are you impressed by that?
Yes, it's very very interesting and impressive, and also how quickly it happened. It's been like an explosion.
And why is that? As a grower of vegetables, of better quality vegetables and food, why all of a sudden? What's happening? That's going on? Why?
I think kale being known as being so healthy, and with digital technology and social media, I think word gets out quicker, because kale's been around a long time, and 50 years ago everyone knew it was healthy, but
no one ate it.
Right.
They knew it was there, but they're not using it. Right.
Yeah. So and that's an interesting product for us too. We're testing it. We're able to grow it hydroponically, so you may see it on the shelf soon from our company as well.
And where's your company?
We're up in Carpinteria, California.
Oh, that's very nice. Yep. It's beautiful up there. Yep. And what's the name of your company?
Hollandia Produce. And you'll see us on the shelf as Live Gourmet or Grower Pete's.
And where do I find Grower Pete's?
Grower Pete's is in Ralph's, Albertsons, a lot of health food stores. Some of the Whole Foods stores carry it.
Oh my goodness, you're everywhere.
Yes, and a lot of those independent stores carry it also.
And Is this butternut lettuce?
Yes, butter lettuce, and then this one here is a red butter lettuce, which
Well, they look great.
Yes.
They look great. So this is always a good sign. And what's the shelf life on these lovely looking lettuce that we're picking up on the camera? How long can these be in the house?
Well, we put 15 days on them from
from
harvest, and since we're not cutting them off, the roots are still on them. They easily last at least 15 days. The idea is that they're still in excellent condition when you get them home, even on the 16th day. So the roots allow that to work.
So there's no acceptance issues. In other words, this is firmly established. People know what this is. They have no problem buying this. Is that it?
Correct. We've through the years, as people have learned about it, we've had many questions. Like, what's that string in the bottom? Why is that string in there? And well, that's not string.
Mm-hmm.
It's the roots. It allows you to actually harvest it at home. It's still living, so you can, when you get home, you pull the leaves off, and it can't be any fresher. So people get it. And actually, another big question that we've been getting through the years is they look so perfect. It must be GMO, and it's not. It's definitely not. And to become organic certified, it can't be GMO anyway. But a lot of people don't make that connection. So we decided to put it on our package. So we have that. That tag
non-GMO project verified. Right.
Yeah.
Good for you. It's a smart idea. And if I was to, let's say at home, I'm going to grow some vegetables, do they grow faster in a hydroponic solution than they do if I have them in the ground? Is it the same? What is it?
They grow a little bit faster, and it's a combination of us in our greenhouse. We give the plants the exact climate that they like. So we know the optimum temperature in the day, in the night, and we give that to them. So we, in essence, we baby them to grow perfectly.
They have perfect conditions.
Yeah, we give them all the nutrients they need, all the exact levels of calcium and potassium and all the elements that they need.
And are these grown in individual tubs, or are they huge tubs? I mean, how do you? Can I ask?
They're actually grown in long channels, and so the water flows through the channels, and the roots are basically living in the channel for their lifetime, and the water's flowing past the roots.
And how long does it take to grow these lovely lettuce? How long?
It takes about 7 to 8 weeks.
Oh, it does take 7 to 8 weeks.
Yeah, yeah. From seed, we sow our own seeds. Yep.
Oh wow.
Yep.
Well, that's pretty fast, isn't it? 7 to 8 weeks, isn't it? That's fast.
It is. Yep. They move right along. We sow the seed in a little peat moss cube. That's what you see there, the dark color.
Right.
So they need something to get established. So the roots are able to be in that peat moss cube, and then after about 3 weeks, we set that cube with the young seedling in our hydroponic channel, and from there the roots go on their own into the channel, and they grow up to be this beautiful head of lettuce.
So Pete, you're saying, so after 3 weeks and you plant them in the channel, that in just another 5 or so weeks, they're ready to harvest?
Yes.
Oh, that seems very efficient.
In the summer, even faster. It speeds up.
Because I know when you grow gardens for children, you have them grow radishes first, because you can get those in like 28 days. They look at this. You grew this, and it was fast. It was 28 days. It's very impressive. Well, Pete, thank you for being on. And Pete, once again, where can I buy your hydroponic vegetables?
Okay.
And the name of the company and where it is.
Okay, so we're in Carpinteria, California. It's Hollandia Produce, and our brands are Live Gourmet and Grower Pete's. And depending which brand, we're in most stores. We're in Vaughn's under a private label brand as well, and we're in pretty much every store that you come across.
Well, Pete, thank you for being on. It's been fun. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. You're listening to Here's to Your Health on the LA Talk Live broadcast network. I'm your host, Josh Lane. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back after these important messages.
We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
Young Connection, your one-stop connection for all your graphic design and commercial printing needs. Young Connection is a full-service printing and media design company dedicated to providing the highest level of customer service and satisfaction. Young Connection provides swift response and rapid turnaround services for banners, brochures, business cards, letterheads, church bulletins, funeral programs, flyers, logo design, posters, and much, much more, all at an affordable price. Young Connection, the official printing company of LA Talk Live. Give them a call at 310-491-3336. That's 310-491-3336, or visit their website at www.youngconnection.com. That's www.youngconnection.com. Young Connection Printing and Media Services, proud sponsors of LA Talk Live, where it's more than just talk.
Hi, this is Susie Pruden. And yes, you've seen me on Oprah, Good Morning America, and The Today Show. And I'm inviting you to join me every Monday from 3 to 4 for my new show, Mastermind Live. Join us as we introduce you to the new thought leaders of the world who will inspire you, support you, and guide you to your next level. So don't forget to tune into Mastermind Live exclusively on latalklive.com. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio R&B or watch us on Ustream TV. Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Hey everybody, it's your man Sabir Bey back on your airwaves, inviting you to join us every Tuesday, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Sabir Bey Show, discussing history, law, and hip-hop. Every Tuesday, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, the Sabir Bey Show, exclusively on latalklive.com. You also can catch us on iTunes Radio and R&B, Live 365, Radio Flag, and now Stitcher Radio. Or watch us and listen directly at latalklive.com. Reality radio, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
We're back. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Here's to Your Health on the LA Talk Live Broadcast Network. I'm your host, Joshua Lane. We're here with Ray Dustar, who has a company, Brust Vegetable Juices. Ray, welcome to Here's to Your Health.
Hey, thanks, Josh. Thanks for having me.
Happy to have you here.
It's a Boost liquid vitamin. So
Boost.
spelled like the word juiced, but pronounced like the word boost.
Oh, you're right. I was close, but
That's
not,
all right,
no
you're
cigar
close.
there. Okay. Yeah, Brust. And what was the genesis of this idea?
Well, you know, this whole thing was a product of necessity. I found myself having a very hard time with pill form vitamins. So whenever I would take pill form vitamins, which is something I've been taking since 2006, I would get a very nauseous feeling. So I get nauseated for a good 15 or 20 minutes. One random day, I took my pill form vitamins, I crushed them up on my counter, and then I kind of dissolved it in my fresh vegetable juice. And I thought, let's see how I feel with this. Drank my juice, felt like $1,000,000. And then I thought, this is interesting. Maybe I should try a liquid vitamin. I looked on the market to see if there was one that was meeting the needs that I wanted, which was basically a product that was going to deliver me 100% daily value of the entire spectrum of vitamins. And there wasn't. So I spent about 1.5 years working on it, and I created it. And
Good for you.
that's what led to the creation of Boost.
Boost,
you got it.
And were you sick, can I ask?
You know, I wasn't sick, but I did have high cholesterol. So I got diagnosed with high cholesterol, and my doctor wanted to put me on Lipitor. I was at 234. You know, I'm a younger guy. I thought I was in really good shape, and I thought I knew what I was doing dietary-wise. So when he wanted to put me on Lipitor, I asked him, I said, can you give me 6 months? Give me a little time. Let me see if I can solve this. So I discovered fresh vegetable juicing, which is another incredible passion of mine. I've launched a website called everydayjuicer.com where people can get a ton of valuable information when it comes to fresh vegetable juicing. And so I started down this path, I guess a journey of fresh vegetable juicing and adding it to my lifestyle. After 4 months, I felt so different. I lost some weight. I lost maybe 10 pounds, which I didn't even know I had. You know, my skin was better. My nails were better. My hair was growing faster. Right. I was noticing all these things. Called my doctor and I said, hey, listen, I'm ready to come in and take that, cholesterol test again. He said, well, it's only been 4 months. I said, I know, but I just feel different. So I went in, I took the test. My cholesterol came down from 234 to 168.
Okay, great.
So I dropped it 66 points. My LDL came down from 232 to 201. So I brought that down. I kept my HDL, which is the good cholesterol, at a nice level. My triglycerides, they stayed at a really nice level. So I realized there's something to this concept of liquid absorption from fresh vegetable juice. So I've become a huge advocate for people adding fresh vegetable juicing to their lifestyle. But I want to make something really clear. I don't believe in a juice fast. I don't believe in these juice cleanses that are out there. It's not about a short-term fix. It's about adding as much vegetables as you can in the most absorbable form, which is the liquid, to your daily lifestyle. And so that's what everydayjuicer.com is all about, and people can get a lot of valuable information there.
And you have this, so the Brust is that's the product. You have
Yeah, so that's the product. So really the juicing, that's not part of the business, except that I'm incredibly passionate about it and I'm trying to get as many people to start vegetable juicing in their homes. Now, the reason Boost fits in nicely with fresh vegetable juicing is when you look at leafy green vegetables, which is 90% of what you should be juicing on a daily basis. I have something called the 90-10 rule when it comes to juicing, because I do not want people juicing a lot of fruits because they are higher in sugar, right. They're higher in fructose, and when you remove the fiber through the juicing process, that sugar causes spikes of insulin in your body. So when it comes to fruits, my suggestion is just eat the entire piece of fruit, let the fiber from the fruit help with the interaction and the absorption of the sugar. But when it comes to vegetables, you absolutely can remove the fiber from that. You can get all the nutrients from the juice. And the reason Boost plays in nicely is leafy green vegetables just do not give you the entire spectrum of vitamins from A through K. So the product originally started as literally a boost, as in BOOST, to your vegetable juice, but now people are using it as their daily multivitamin. They take a shot of it in the morning. I've got a 30-ounce bottle. That's a 1-month supply, and you can get this off the website at boost.com. So that's BUICED.com, spelled like the word juiced. And then we also have come out with 1-ounce travel shots. So these are great for when you're on the road. If you're going to go be away for a weekend and you don't want to take the big bottle, you can take a 1-ounce travel shot. So
Ray, it's like an ounce a day?
An ounce a day. Exactly, an ounce a day. And in that ounce, you're going to get 100% daily value of the entire spectrum of vitamins. Vitamin A, all the B complex, vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin E, and vitamin K. We also have a complementary mineral blend to help with that absorption of the product. And what's incredible about liquid vitamins is, according to the Physician's Desk reference, which is, the Bible of the medical industry, liquid vitamins give you a 98% absorption rate versus only 10 to 20% for pills. So for anybody out there that has a hard time swallowing pills, for anybody that gets nauseous like I did from pill form vitamins, for anyone, quite frankly, that just doesn't like to take vitamins in pill form, hopefully Boost is a good solution for you.
Now, this is in liquid form.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that there are no preservatives in the product. Is there a new technology that allows you to put out a product without preservatives?
There is a new technology, and a lot of it goes into how you make the product from a hot versus cold fill standpoint. We use a hot fill standpoint, which means we basically boil water up to 180 degrees before we start to make the product. So that kills any microbials that could be in it. And once you seal that product aseptically, you're going to be able to be preservative free free. We're preservative free for over 18 months now in an unopened bottle, which is great.
Well, so that's actually pretty impressive. I think, preservatives obviously preserve food, and that's great for the manufacturer, but not so much for the consumer.
Sure, exactly.
So you were able to. This is pretty new technology?
This is new technology, so it's preservative-free. In Boost, there's no artificial colors, no artificial flavors, no artificial sweeteners. It's also, we went above and beyond to make the product gluten-free, it's GMO-free, and then it's completely dairy, nut, and soy, so it's allergen-free. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people will experience some internal inflammation when they take a pill-form vitamin. They feel bloated, they feel a little bit gassy. So this product is completely free of all allergens. So, you can take it on an empty stomach, you can take it with food, and you're going to feel great, and you're going to feel the surge of the B complex vitamins. That's going to give you energy. The vitamin C is going to help you with immunity. The vitamin D is going to help you with your bone growth. So it honestly, it's a product that I stand behind. I take it myself every morning. It's the first thing I put in my body. So, I started out wanting to create something for myself. Mm-hmm. And when I created it for myself, I realized, wow, other people could benefit from this. And that's what made me, go down this path and dedicate my career and my life to, getting Boost out there. And also the fresh vegetable juicing. I'm a big proponent of that.
Yeah.
And I think the more people do it, the more they'll realize how easy it is.
Well, Ray, where can I buy this Boost liquid vegetables?
So basically, you can get Boost right off our website at boost.com. So that's www.buiced.com. So again, spelled like the word juiced, but pronounced Boost. We're starting to open up select retailers around Southern California. So we're in Rainbow Acres off of Washington and Venice.
They're great.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I know them for sure. Yeah. They're great. Yeah.
And then, we're also on Amazon, and, slowly but surely we're getting out there. And, I highly encourage people to do your research. If you're not taking a daily multivitamin, you really should think about adding that. And again, I'm a big fan of the liquid because it all comes down to the absorption rate. You're getting a 98% absorption rate versus only 10 to 20 with pills.
And what does this taste like, actually? Does it taste like lemon?
It tastes actually like carrot juice. Here, I'll open one up for you.
That's okay. I don't want to drink it on the air.
All right.
I don't really run that kind of show, Ray, but okay, thank you. Anyway.
Tastes like carrot juice. A lot of people say it tastes like Tang, if you remember the drink Tang from back in the day.
Actually, I do remember Tang very well. I'm from the era of Tang for sure. When Tang was it was almost kind of a healthy food.
Yeah.
Obviously it was not, but they used to say, "Oh, the astronauts drink this." No, I remember that when that came on the market. I clearly remember that. Oh my goodness. Do you remember that, Rich? Rich remembers, yes. We're same era. Tang.
And 1 ounce a day, that's all you need. The 30-ounce bottle, that's a complete 1 month supply. The dispensing cap is 1 ounce, so you just pour yourself a cap in the morning, shoot it straight back as a shot, or you can, pour it in your glass of orange juice, your fresh vegetable juice, your apple juice. The good thing is we've specifically formulated the taste to be pleasant enough to take on its own, but then also not interact with the taste of your other beverage. The key thing is it's that liquid absorption. I can't stress that enough.
And after I open it, I keep it in the refrigerator.
Yeah, after you open it, you keep it in the refrigerator. For the big bottle, the single-serve shots, they're kind of grip it, rip it, drink it, and they're done.
So if I was to use like a little single serve, what do I like? Pour it into a glass, add a little water, and drink it?
I mean, honestly, with the single serve shots, you can pretty much just take it from the bottle. That's what most people are doing. They open up the 1 ounce bottle and they just shoot it back as a shot. Now, again, if you did want to pour it into your glass of water or glass of vegetable juice or glass of orange juice, that's fine as well. The product plays very well in that aspect. But most people are just, the taste is good enough that they're just taking it as a shot every morning, starting off their day with it and making it part of their, everyday lifestyle.
And Ray, what's it selling for, the Boost?
The big bottle's $30, so it's 30 servings. So that's a 1 month supply for $30, so it's $1 a day.
$30 is very reasonable.
It's a very reasonable price
it's very reasonable.
for a vitamin product, again, that's giving you 100% daily value of the entire vitamin. This is all you need when it comes to vitamins.
Well, Ray, thank you very much. And once again, give me your website.
Sure, it's boost.com. So B as in boy, UICED.com. Again, spelled like the word juiced, but with a B.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Josh.
Ray from Boost has been our guest here today on Here's to Your Health. And we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back after these important messages.
We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
Meet Betsy. She is 29 years old and lives in Los Angeles. Recently, Betsy sent her father an email that brought tears of joy to his eyes. You see, Betsy suffers from autism, and this was the first email she had ever sent to anyone. Betsy is just one of the many students at Empower Tech, a nonprofit organization in Los Angeles that trains persons living with a broad range of physical, cognitive, and developmental disabilities how to use computers to do the things that so many of us take for granted: email, online banking, research, and entertainment. Through modern assistive technology, instructors at Empower Tech help hundreds of people just like Betsy every year. They teach them the basic skills required to function independently in 21st century society. But with new state budget cuts, all of that could change. Empower Tech needs your help if it's going to continue making a difference here in our community. Please visit www.empowertech.org. That's www.empowertech.org to make a secure, tax-deductible contribution and to learn more about this important community resource and to see for yourself what some of the amazing students and teachers do on a daily basis. Betsy and the 1.8 million people living with disabilities in Los Angeles County, thank you for caring enough to show your support.
Hey everybody, it's your man Sabir Bey back on your airwaves, inviting you to join us every Tuesday, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Sabir Bey Show, discussing history, law, and hip-hop. Every Tuesday, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, the Sabir Bey Show, exclusively on LATalkLive.com. You also can catch us on iTunes Radio and R&B, Live 365, Radio Flag, and now Stitcher Radio. Or watch us and listen directly at LATalkLive.com. Reality radio, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Hi, this is Indian Tyler inviting you to join me beginning April 9th every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for Indian Tyler's Beyond the Vanity. Join me as we go beyond the vanity and discuss the real life issues of beauty. And it gets really real. So on April 9th, don't forget to tune in to Indian Tyler's Beyond the Vanity Wednesdays at 2 p.m. exclusively on LATalkLive.com and the Talk Live Broadcast Network. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio R&B, TuneIn Radio, Live 365, Radio Flag, and AHA Radio. Or watch and listen directly at LATalkLive.com. Reality radio, handcrafted for your listening and viewing pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Joshua Lane, member of the board of directors of Dr. Ann Wigmore's Hippocrates Health Institute, Josh Lane was part of the Dr. Ann Wigmore team that brought wheatgrass, sprouts, and raw foods to a worldwide audience. And now the host of Here's to Your Health on LA Talk Live, Joshua Lane.
We're back. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Here's to Your Health on the LA Talk Live broadcast network. Your host, Joshua Lane. My guest is Steve Morrissey, who is a acupuncture physician, has some new products which use mushrooms, which are very successfully. Steve, welcome to Here's to Your Health.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
And what's the name of your company?
Plantiva, Plantiva.
And how long has Plantiva been around?
It's been around for about 4 years now, but we've been in development of these formulas for about 25 years.
So you are a graduate acupuncturist?
I have a doctorate in Oriental medicine. It's a 4-year graduate degree that I got and finished in about 1985.
From what school?
From the California Acupuncture College, which was in West Los Angeles at the time. It's no longer there. But
and where'd you get your undergraduate degree?
At the University of Denver. Yeah.
So you, and I assume, I shouldn't make this assumption, but I'm assuming you've been doing this for a real long time.
Yes, I have. And I started really developing products in my practice. I had a very busy practice in the Seattle area for many years. And that's where it was kind of a research-oriented practice, but I started developing, trying to optimize formulations. I studied homeopathy and nutrition as well, so I used a lot of different approaches. It was fairly eclectic, but when we started into the idea of doing clinical trials on natural products, we wanted to get those ingredients that were the most effective, because of course you want to see positive results in your studies if you're going to spend all the time and money to do those studies.
And so I looked at your formulation. So you use a lot of medicinal mushrooms. Why?
Well, actually, yes. This particular product, ARX Athletic Recovery Accelerator, has 3 medicinal mushrooms and 3 plant extracts. And the other ones are not mushroom based, but that one in particular happens to be. And this product we've shown doubles lactic acid clearance from the blood following exercise, so it's great for recovery.
Really? Oh, wow.
It gives you more energy. When you're clearing lactic acid, you're actually utilizing the lactic acid as a substrate for the production of more energy. So you're not only clearing it out, the waste product of energy metabolism, but you're also utilizing it to produce more energy.
So in other words, if I'm a cyclist, I hit a certain hill at a certain speed all the time, I start taking the ARX, and in a couple of days or a week, I can hit that hill faster?
That's right, yeah. It does build up in your system over about a 3-week period. So you take 2 capsules once a day, and over time.
2 capsules, say, with breakfast?
Yeah, you can do it with meals, or you can just take it independently.
Or it doesn't matter, in your opinion?
Not really, no.
And what mushrooms are you using?
Flammulina, Ganoderma, and Cordyceps are the 3 mushrooms in ARX.
Let me hear that once again.
Flammulina, which is also a gnocchi mushroom, Ganoderma, and Cordyceps.
So those mushrooms the Cordyceps is reasonably well known. Are the other 2 well known?
Flammulina is less well known as a medicinal ingredient, but we find it particularly useful as an athletic ingredient for athletic recovery.
You were in Seattle, so is Seattle particularly fertile area for the use of medicinal mushrooms?
Well, Seattle is a great environment for natural medicine. There are 2 or 3 acupuncture colleges there, and there's also one of the first accredited naturopathic university there, Bastyr, which is a place that I taught, and I chaired the urinal medicine program back in the late 80s, early 90s.
Those are really kind of pioneering days.
They were, that's right, and it's still early on. I mean, I think this is an industry, a form of medicine that will continue to grow around the country. But it's become very popular. That's a truism. The other 3 products that we've been working on for many years are immune system targeted, and we have something called AllerDX. AllerDX has been through 2 clinical trials. It's used for environmental sensitivities, people whose immune system is kind of defending against things like pollens and grasses and trees and cats and dust and those kinds of things that really are not that threatening to the body, but the immune system decides to defend against them.
Okay, excuse me. Okay, now that's an important subject.
Yeah.
And so for the listening audience today on Here's to Your Health, just do that once again. So in other words, if I have a cat in the house, in general, that shouldn't be a problem.
Right.
But if it is a problem, what will that do for me?
Well, there are the increase in the incidence of allergies has been pretty dramatic over the last 30 years in Western countries, Western Europe, Australia, North America. And that increase, that's basically the immune system, again, defending against things that are not particularly threatening. And so the question is, why is it doing that? And now it's starting to happen in other places like China. Chinese medicine, over the many millennia that it's been developing, doesn't really have a lot of history in treating environmental sensitivities because they didn't have them. Their immune system was kind of busy defending against a lot of the naturally occurring pathogens or toxins that were in the environment historically. So there are two things that people say about environmental sensitivities that are triggering the increase in the incidence of this condition. One is the hygiene hypothesis, which is basically saying that our immune system evolved in a very toxic environment, and we over the years developed mechanisms to defend against a lot of different environmental exposures of various kinds. And now with this very clean environment, pristine, we wash our hands, we clean our houses very much, food is refrigerated, so the immune system is almost over-engineered to defend against those things that it used to defend against and are no longer in our environment. So we have an immune system now is defending against things that are not threatening in a way that it did not used to do. And so that's one theory. The other theory that people have is that now it's almost the opposite, really. We're exposed to all these toxins that we weren't exposed to historically, like some of the previous guests have talked about. There are a lot of things in the water supply and agrochemicals.
Right.
All of
these are real serious issues. Excuse me, I don't want to put words in your mouth. Do you kind of feel that it's exposure to all the poison we're exposed to now, isn't it? I mean,
yeah.
How long have we been dumping millions of pounds of pesticides all over the United States?
Right.
That wasn't happening in 1880.
Yeah, exactly. And so now the immune system is confused. So the original toxins that we were exposed to have significantly decreased in our daily lives, and these other toxins that we're not used to and haven't evolved defenses against or ways to process and eliminate efficiently, at least some people, those are now increasing and confusing the immune system. So you have both a confused immune system and an over-engineered immune system in certain ways. There are basically four things that go wrong. If you look at immune system textbooks, they're really complicated, and you have to really pay attention to what you're reading in order to understand what it's saying. But if you break it down and simplify it, it's really there are four things that go wrong with immune function. There's autoimmunity, allergy, chronic inflammatory conditions, and then deficiency. And deficiency is the only one that is a weakness. The other three are an overactive immune response. So a lot of people talk about strengthening immune function. Well, one out of those four is something that you need to strengthen. The other three, you need to keep the immune function under control. So we try to address all of those types of conditions, try and balance immune function from a lot of different perspectives as we develop immune system products.
So you see yourself as a progressive healer, right? I mean, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. You're a progressive healer. I mean, you're trying to heal the body, and the things you just told me, I think, are important for people to really hear, and you said it very succinctly too. Yeah. So when a patient comes to you, and let's say you're working with farmers have a very high occupational incidence of cancer, don't they?
That's my understanding. That's because of the exposure that some of them get. They also have a lower incidence of allergies because they are exposed to a lot of pathogens that are historically common to our environment, and so they get a lot of that exposure. The immune system gets educated in their youth, basically, and so as they grow up, their immune systems are trained differently. So you don't see as many allergies in people who are raised on farms. Yeah, that's just an interesting aside. And so going back to the, by the way, I do want to mention that I described some disease conditions related to immune function, and we're selling dietary supplements, and we don't treat disease conditions.
Right.
So just want to make that clear. We're trying to.
You don't look good dressed in orange. Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Exactly. Right. Well, listen, this is very interesting. You obviously really know a lot. Where can we contact you for your new products?
Plantiva has a great website at plantiva.com, plantiva.com, where these products are sold in a lot of the Whole Foods.
You're in Whole Foods?
Mother's Markets, not all of them, but
Mother's
many
Markets,
of them.
Fantastic stores.
Mother's Markets, yeah, Lazy Acres.
That's great.
Some
Santa
of the
Barbara.
Rainbow, yeah.
Fantastic.
And there's the Lazy Acres also in Southern, and also Pharmaca pharmacies carry all of our products.
Oh, they're great. Oh, my goodness. Well, all the good stores, you're there.
Yes, we try to be.
Well, thank you, Steve. Thanks for being on. I very much appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much. You're listening to Here's to Your Health on the LA Talk Live Broadcast Network. I'm your host, Josh Lane. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back after these important messages.
We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
Young Connection, your one-stop connection for all your graphic design and commercial printing needs. Young Connection is a full-service printing and media design company dedicated to providing the highest level of customer service and satisfaction. Young Connection provides swift response and rapid turnaround services for banners, brochures, business cards, letterheads, church bulletins, funeral programs, flyers, logo design, posters, and much, much more, all at an affordable price. Young Connection, the official printing company of L Talk Live. Give them a call at 310-491-3336. That's 310-491-3336, or visit their website at www.youngconnection.com. That's www.youngconnection.com. Young Connection Printing and Media Services, proud sponsors of LA Talk Live, where it's more than just talk.
Hey everybody, it's your man Sabir Bey back on your airwaves, inviting you to join us every Tuesday, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Sabir Bey Show, discussing history, law, and hip-hop. Every Tuesday, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, the Sabir Bey Show, exclusively on latalklive.com. You also can catch us on iTunes Radio and R&B, Live 365, Radio Flag, and now Stitcher Radio. Or watch us and listen directly at latalklive.com. Reality radio, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Joshua Lane, member of the board of directors of Dr. Ann Wigmore's Hippocrates Health Institute, Josh Lane was part of the Dr. Ann Wigmore team that brought wheatgrass, sprouts, and raw foods to a worldwide audience. And now the host of Here's to Your Health on LA Talk Live, Joshua Lane.
We're back. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Here's to Your Health on the LA Talk Live broadcast network. I'm your host, Joshua Lane. With me is my co-host, Raphael Cohen-Bakri. Raphael Cohen-Bakri is a registered pharmacist, and she is the educator for Boron Homeopathic Medicines. And this is our Boron Spot. Raphael, welcome back to Here's to Your Health.
Thank you, Josh. Always a pleasure to be here.
It's fun to have you here. So, it's kind of people are outdoors now and having fun. And you got bit the other day, is that it?
Yes, and I was thinking maybe we don't have a lot of time, but we can talk about a few tips, some homeopathic medicines you can take with you when you go on the weekend, or, it's going to be summer soon, you're going on a vacation. What should you take with you?
That's a good idea.
And of course, a lot of people get stung by bees, by wasps, mosquitoes. There are so many, insects that
happens. And when you're out, you're picnicking, you're hanging around in the mountains, hiking. When you get bit, it's like it isn't any fun.
It isn't, and you don't know how you're gonna react. I really rarely get stung, so I was surprised. Bees, they usually don't attack me for whatever reason, but it was on top of my head. I was in the pool, so I guess wanted to drink or something. So I just, put my hand on my head, and I got stung inside my hand. And of course, I didn't have anything with me. I have my little homeopathic kit usually that I carry everywhere, but we were invited at some friends, so I didn't have it with me. And it hurts. It's not, I don't react badly. I'm not allergic, but still it's painful. It got swollen right away. It got red and just itching and painful. So the only thing I could do was put some ice cubes. I asked, there was a bar nearby, I asked for some ice cubes, and that helped a lot. But what would I have done if I had had my so now the right advice is you take Apis mellifica.
Apis mellifica,
which is homeopathic medicines made from the honeybee. And that's what Apis mellifica means in Latin, the honeybee. And what it's going to do, it's going to relieve the symptoms that you would get when you get stung by a honeybee, which was exactly the case here. So, meaning it's going to help with the swelling. It's not bright red, but a little bit pink. The itchiness and the pain, and it's going to really reduce the edema, basically. So this is what you can do for bee sting, but you can use it every time you have those symptoms, and it's not necessarily on the skin. Could be sore throat. Same symptoms, the edema, the pain. It's painful when you swallow. And a good sign that Apis is going to work really well is when cold helps. So in my case, ice was really helpful. Same thing if you prefer to drink cold water or have an ice cream when you have a sore throat. That's a good indication that Apis is the right medicine for you.
And so if I get bit, then I take little Apis tablets, right?
So you're going to take those pellets, sublingual pellets. It's exactly like the Arnica, like all those single medicines. So you're going to take Apis, preferably Apis 30C, which you're going to find in the stores very, very easily. And you take 5 pellets. And with Apis, you can take it very, very often. So don't be afraid. It's not like, what we call a conventional medicine that you have to really be careful about the space between 2 intakes.
Right.
Here, you can take it very often. Actually, especially at the beginning, every 10 minutes would be totally fine. 5 pellets. What I do when I have it with me, if it's very, very acute, very painful, I let the pellets dissolve. And after 2 minutes, once they have dissolved, I take 5 more. And you're going to really see the symptoms really, really lessen and the edema go down. Then when you have very little symptoms, you can just stop taking Apis or maybe 2 more times, and that's going to be it.
So theoretically, if I get bit and it kind of swells a little bit and gets red and it kind of itches, all the whatever the symptoms are, maybe there are more symptoms too. If I take 5 Apis mellifica, and then I take it in 10 minutes, another 5, and can I expect in an hour that it'll be really better? Can I kind of expect that?
Oh, yes, definitely. Yeah, unless you're allergic, which I would still take the Apis just to help with the edema. But if you really have a bad allergic reaction, or if it's very swollen, very badly, then of course you want to see a doctor. But that's something you should really carry, especially if you're prone to be stung. But even if you're not, it can happen.
It seems unfair if they would bite you in a pool. That seems really kind of unfair.
Yeah, but even I know I have some friends who are they attract mosquitoes. They get, there's 10 people there. We are having a barbecue or something, and she's the one who gets stung.
And no one knows quite why that is. I mean, no one really knows.
We don't know.
No.
We don't know if it's something like a smell, a specific smell, or the skin is more. We have no idea, but even if you don't get stung, usually you can always put your foot on a bee that's a little bit knocked out or something, and they're gonna bite you. And especially with bees, remember to remove I don't know what you call it, the little
I don't know, the stinger. I'm
yes,
not quite sure.
Yes,
that's not the scientific term there, but I don't know.
But you know what I mean. You have to remove it, and that helps a lot because this is what releases the venom in the wound. So you have to take it out. It's better if you can disinfect. That would be a good advice too. And put some cold on it and take Apis, and that really helps a lot.
And what's the end of the Apis? What else? Apis what?
Apis mellifica.
Apis mellifica, and you think 30C is a good one?
30C is the good, but take whatever you find. If you don't have it, it's better to carry it with you because it really works better if you take it really early on. So if you have to go to drive to the store and take it, it's better. That's one of the medicines I would always have with me, along with Arnica, Calendula for any kind of skin wound.
Right.
There are a few medicines. If you go to
what else for bites?
Yes, if you go to an area where there are a lot of mosquitoes, a lot of insects that can bite you, so take your Apis. You can also take Ledum. Ledum pallus, which is from
what was that again?
Ledum, Ledum, and nothing can prevent you from being stung. At least with homeopathy, there's nothing really that can do that. But Apis is going to take care of the pain and the inflammation, and Ledum is specifically for a wound with a very sharp object. So that's specifically the case of insect bite. So that's also something you want to take very early on.
And same way, 5 little tiny pellets?
Yes, it's always 5, but again, it's not crucial. If you take 4 or 6, it's not going to make a big difference. But 5 is a good amount, and always respect the rule that if it's very painful or very acute or very intense, take your medicine more often, and then when you have less symptoms, you can take it less often. So you have to be a little bit more aware of what's going on in your body, as opposed to just follow a prescription 3 times a day like we do with other medicines. So that's Ledum is also a good medicine if you.
Okay, so Apis is very good for insect bites. Ledum is good. Anything else?
For insect bite, that's basically the 2 main medicines. Also, if you go swimming in an area where there are a lot of jellyfish.
Oh boy.
So this is an interest. Yeah, it's very painful, and you don't really know what to do.
Mostly you have to get out of the water, and because
yes.
I'm from South Florida, and we have sometimes jellyfish show up. They're seasonal, and sometimes they get the lifeguards, and they can really make a nice mess of the lifeguards, and they're kind of marked up for a couple of months, the lifeguards.
Yes, and you're right. You have to get out of the water because first of all, you could get stung more. You don't know how many there are. You don't know how you react unless you have been bitten before, but you never know. It's very painful, so you don't want to maybe drawn, because of the pain.
You could be overwhelmed.
Yes, especially with little children. So get out of the water, and this is an interesting comparison with the honey bee sting. This is a very similar situation. You get stung. It's very often swollen. It's very painful. It can be itchy. It's more painful than anything else, I think, as far as being bitten. But the difference is that you don't want to put cold on it. Cold is going to make it worse.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it's going to really make it more the pain more intense. We think, I'm not 100% sure, but it seems that warm water or warm application helps, or even heat, because it stops the release of the venom. So that's maybe something you can do if you have hot water, not hot, but warm water available, but it's not always the case. So it's not very easy.
If you're at the beach, they don't.
And your instinct tells you to put it in cold, because that's what you usually do, but not for jellyfish, definitely not. But there's a medicine that's very similar to Apis mellifica, same indication, the swelling, the edema, the pain, but it says, if you look at the description of the medicine, that it's for pain that is relieved by heat. So same symptoms, but a different modality. So this is improved by hot application, warm application, and the name of the medicine is Urtica urens. Urtica is Urtica, and it's the stinging nettle.
Oh, stinging nettle, right?
I giving you a lot of names, but if the listeners are interested, they can go on our website, and there's a medicine finder. So it's a very good help if you're looking for a specific medicine. You just put your symptoms or your issues, and it gives you a few medicines. So that's very helpful. You go to our website, which is www.boiron.usa.com. Boiron is BOIRON, USA.com, and there's a little section of medicine finder. You key in for example, insect bite, and it's going to give you probably Apis and maybe a few others. So that's a good a resource.
And what was the last one we just mentioned for the jellyfish bites?
So for the jellyfish bite, it's Urtica urens. Urtica, urticaria. It's very similar, and that's also a medicine I would carry if you go on a vacation at the beach. Definitely, because again, that's something you want to take really, really early, because the pain is very intense when it just happens, and that can make a big difference if you have Urtica with you.
Is that the one remedy that you really think is the best remedy for the jellyfish bites?
That's the only one I know.
Do we get those in California? Is there jellyfish?
Yes.
Okay.
I think you do. I think you do. Maybe not as much as in Florida,
but I do know in Florida that it's seasonal.
Yes.
And it's definitely an issue.
Well, I guess I'm not too familiar with Florida. I guess you don't really get in the water, right? If you know there are jellyfish, or
you're not supposed to, because they really they're out there in bulk, and when they get you, I mean, they really get you.
Yes.
Because again, I had buddies who were lifeguards, and like, they really get scarred up, and then it goes away, but it can hang in there for 4, 5, 6 months on their chest and stuff. Oh yeah, they get these if they really got in a bad little school of them.
And is there anything that they know what to do?
It was years ago, and they didn't know about homeopathy. I think mostly they suffered. There might have been some sort of medicine for them, but I think mostly they just felt lousy.
That's what I think. There's not much you can do. I hear about putting some white vinegar, but again, that's not something you usually carry with you. You're not gonna go to the beach with your vinegar. But I don't have them here. But the homeopathic medicines are very tiny. They're very resistant, so it costs nothing to put one in your beach bag, or that's what I would put. I would put the Urtica, I would put the Apis for any kind of other accident, Arnica of course for trauma, bruises. Calendula is also a great medicine. Calendula is a topical.
And now the calendula. So if I let's say I've been out, I've been chopping wood, I've been digging a ditch, I've been fooling around in the earth, I can put calendula on my hand.
Yeah, you mean if you have dry skin or damaged? Yes.
Yeah, just dry. Just feels just a little dry.
Mm-hmm. It's much more than that, but it's also you can use it this way. But it's very healing. It's a very healing topical medicine, so you can use it on even chapsticks, on lips. On your hands.
Actually, I put it on lips. Yes. Yeah, I find it works real good actually on lips.
It is because not only it moisturizes the skin and the lips, but it also helps if there are any cracks or if they're really really dry and even a little bit painful for sunburn. So that's why.
Hey, sunburn.
Thinking, yes.
Yeah, I get that. I find sometimes if I'm like working on the floor and some of the floor soaps just seem kind of strong, that my hands feel really dry afterwards, like, oh my God, I don't like this. And I put calendula on, and they feel better instantaneously.
Yes.
And I'm trying to be careful too, but you're working with floor soaps and like, okay, but the calendula, it's cheap too, it's inexpensive, it works great.
Yeah, you don't need a lot. Yeah. You don't need a lot, so, one bottle goes a long way. My favorite is the ointment and also the lotion, but we also have a cream.
So the ointment, the lotion, the cream, so they're all kind of exactly the same, just a little slightly different delivery system?
Yes, and the ointment has a little bit less of the calendula extract, the plant extract. It does, because it's supposed to, it's a little bit like the Arnica ointment. It's supposed to stay on the skin and to release the medicine over a longer period. That's why you don't need to put as much as in the other forms. And also because the inactive ingredient, that's what it can take, that's the maximum amount it can absorb. But other than that, the same action, it's just the texture, and also the lotion is less greasy. So for large areas of your body, usually you prefer something that's lighter, that's not going to stain your clothes.
Yeah.
And we use it a lot in cancer patients.
Calendula?
Yes, who are doing radiotherapy. Because one of the side effects of radiotherapy is that it can cause dermatitis or
yes,
burns.
Unfortunately, yes.
So you don't need that on top of everything else that's going on.
Right.
So
your plate's full there, pretty much. Yeah.
Yes. So every time we can help those patients with the side effects of their treatment. So it can be nausea, it can be hot flashes, but in the case of radiotherapy, I talk to a lot of cancer centers. They really like what they get with the calendula because it's soothing. Immediately they put it on just after the session. After every session, the patient can also put it again at night, and it's very soothing, and it minimizes the risk of burns and dermatitis. So it's very helpful. A lot of people use it.
And whenever we have a conversation about homeopathy, I think we need to mention, so you make specific claims like the Apis for insect bites, for bee stings, because the homeopathic medicines are sold and regulated as drugs in the United States.
Yeah, they are medicines. That's why we always, the company does a lot of efforts to educate consumers, patients, and physicians. And we talk to a lot of physicians. When they don't know a lot about homeopathy, they say homeopathic remedies, homeopathic products, and we always, we emphasize those are medicines.
Right.
Call them what they are,
Right.
because people get confused. It's interesting to know that they are regulated and standardized and high quality, and they are medicines, yes, regulated by the FDA as such. So it's
Okay, so I always like to
Mhm.
establish that. And let's say the children are out playing and get banged around a little bit. I can put some arnica on them when they get banged around?
Yes. Arnicare, which is the brand name for, the topicals made from Arnica montana, which is the mountain daisy.
Mountain daisy.
Mountain
Right.
daisy, which
That grows in the United States?
it's Europe and North America. It's a local plant. It's has been around for a long time. It's very efficient for its healing properties. The only restriction with arnica, you don't put it on an open wound, which can happen with children, obviously. So what you do, you put it all around the wound if the skin is open. If it's just a big bump, there's a bruise, or you see a bruise is gonna come. You just put it all on the area and around the area. Very often you can do it. We say 3 times a day just to give it some indications, but I would do it same thing every hour, and it really helps. It's and the children like it because it has no smell. It doesn't look like a serious medicine, so they like it. They feel like it's not going to hurt them or anything.
Right.
Which is good.
And also there are little arnica tablets too.
So tablets and pellets. So again, the pellets are sublingual. We also have tablets for people who prefer that delivery system, but it's also sublingual. You let them melt in your mouth, so it goes through your bloodstream. That's why it works very fast. And you can also add it to the topical gel or cream. Take it 3, 4, 6 times a day if you need it to.
Do they have dodgeball? Did you play dodgeball in France?
I don't even know what it is.
Dodgeball is 2 dividing teams. This is in junior high school and high school. Divide up on the side of a line, and they throw these big balls at each other.
Oh,
Did you
I hated it.
Did you do that in France?
Yes, I hated it. It was so mean.
It's kind of a funny sport to teach in high school, But
it teaches your life, definitely. But I didn't
it's
like
pretty funny.
it.
So I guess if you get hit with the dodgeball, if you didn't catch it, you get hit with the dodgeball. I guess the arnica would actually be kind of helpful if you think,
Yes.
oh my goodness, I just got whacked with a dodgeball there.
That's also something you should put in your kids, sports bag, or that's the arnica pellet. That's very easy to take. You don't even have to interrupt the game to take your 5 pellets.
Yeah, I had a high school teacher. This is not a joke. His name was Edgar Schmidt. This is not a joke. He was the phys ed teacher, so we used to call him Physical Edgar Schmidt. It was just amazing. And we used to play dodgeball all the time. And he thought it was hilarious. Kids get hit with a dodgeball. Yeah, it was just very funny, really. But it does seem like a funny thing that they should be teaching you in junior high school and high school. I don't know.
But did you have mixed teams, or was it boys and girls together?
No, just boys.
Oh.
Boys and boys.
Oh,
Girls had their own thing. I'm not sure what the girls did, but the boys threw dodgeballs at each other. That's what we
See,
did.
we were mixed with
Oh,
the
really?
boys. That's why it was painful for us. And I was small, so
That seems rather unfair, really.
It was the French way.
They didn't do that in my school, really. I guess maybe we were ahead of the French in that way. Maybe the French are ahead of us on that. No, it'll be mixed. Maybe it's just a better idea.
More fun, yeah.
I guess maybe you decide you're not going to throw it at that girl. You throw it at the guy instead. I don't really know.
I don't know.
So Arnica montana is good. And what else can I take for out of doors?
I would take my either my allergy medicine if I'm prone to allergies,
What allergy
definitely. So there are a lot. Again, APIS. We think more in terms of symptoms than really conditions. So if you have allergies that give you very similar symptoms, the swelling of the throat, the edema, APIS is going to be a really good medicine. We also have Allium cepa, which is made from the red onion.
Allium cepa.
Yeah. Again, everything is on the website. If you key in allergies, you're going to see all those medicines come up. Allium cepa from the red onion, think of it for all those symptoms, the watery eyes, the runny nose, watery eyes and tearing eyes. So that's also very good medicine if you have hay fever. You can also go to what we call our specialty medicines, which is they are combination of medicines such as Sabadil. Sabadil is our allergy medicine.
Sabadil, right.
Sabadil is excellent medicine to carry with you. We have the eye drops that you can also add if you have a lot of eye symptoms. Very good if you have dry, which is often the case when you go, especially in a hot country, dry eyes, irritated eyes, tired, red, allergies. That's Optic. Those are unit doses, that you can just put in your eyes. That's also something I would bring. I'm trying to think what I put in my suitcase. If you suffer from jet lag, if you're traveling abroad.
You have something of that, really?
We do. You can just take our sleep medicine, which is Quietude. That helps a lot of people. But if you're really suffering from the jet lag itself, not really from the sleeplessness, but just the fact that you're tired, you want to go to sleep, but not at the right time, there are several medicines you can take. Arnica, I would take for all the muscle aches that you get when you travel a long time on the plane. And then there are two medicines, Cocculus and Nux Vomica, that you just alternate for a few days when you arrive at destination, and that helps put you back on the right schedule.
I thought the Nux Vomica was really for like kind of gastrointestinal upset.
Exactly, but that's very often what people suffer from when they have jet lag. It's not only the problem with sleeping, it's also digestive issues from being
digestive issues kind of factor into a lot of illnesses, don't they? I mean, they really do.
Yeah. They're the source of many issues.
Right.
But Nux Vomica is going to really help you, regulate yourself again without side effects or any interaction. So those medicines are really great when you're traveling, especially it's always a problem when you're traveling with prescription medicines, because they can ask you, when you go through custom, I think most likely through customs, do you have your prescription? So it makes it a little bit more difficult. Same thing when you go to the pharmacy, you don't have your prescription medicine, you're asking. I used to work in pharmacies in Paris. We would get those tourists all the time. Yeah, this is what I need, but they don't have a prescription, or we don't have a similar or the exact same medicines. So I think homeopathy has a great spot there to help tourists and people who are traveling with safe options.
Now, if someone does have jet lag and they want to use Nux Vomica, so was it 5 little tiny tabs like every couple hours? Something?
Yes, or maybe less often if it's not very intense. So same thing. If it's intense, every 2 hours is fine. If it's just just to put you back on schedule, and maybe 5 pellets at night would be okay.
And what's Nux Vomica made from?
It's the poison nut.
Poison nut.
Mm-hmm.
That might not sound good to some of the listeners. Poison nut, eh?
Well, because everything is a question of dose.
Right.
Even what you're used to with your medicines, if you take too much, they become poisonous, right? So same thing with homeopathy. We just use very, very tiny amounts of those substances. That's what makes them totally safe. But poison nuts, when it's not a homeopathic medicine, if you take the plant, the nut itself, it's definitely poisonous. But of course, we don't do that. We use the right amount.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of our medicines have funny, weird names, but they're totally okay.
All right, so Nux Vomica for jet lag and digestion. And what was the other item for jet lag?
Cocculus, which is very well known for motion sickness. Every time there's nausea, there's uneasiness, and it's also known for jet lag, to put you back on schedule and help you adjust to the time zone you're in. Again, some people don't suffer. I adapt very, very well to jet lag. When I go back to Europe, it's a 9-hour difference. Doesn't bother me much. But some people, even when we change time, from daylight saving, they're totally, it disturbs them a lot. So you just have to know what bothers you and bring it with you. That's well, if you go to Europe, you're going to find our medicines everywhere. So it's not a problem.
I know. One thing before you run off, what about motion sickness on a boat? You got anything for that?
Yes, we have several. We have Cocculus, we have Tabacum, and Petroleum.
Okay.
And they're all a little bit different. One is better. One is for people who feel better when they eat. Some people feel better when they're nauseous and they have something in their stomach. That would be petroleum. Tabacum is for people who need fresh air, and Cocculus, it's more for people who need to be quiet and in a closed, space.
Gotcha. Well, Raphael Cohn-Bacri, my co-host on Here's to Your Health, thank you for another great segment. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Josh.
This is Josh Lane. You're listening to us, Raphael and myself today. Here's to Your Health on the LA Talk Live broadcast network. We're going to take a short break, and then Raphael will be right back after these important messages.
Thank you for tuning in to LA Talk Live, reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we're more than just talk. Stay tuned.
It started out like a totally normal day.
I love you.
I mean, I guess I was a little sweaty and I was definitely sore. I thought I had gas. Turns out I was having a heart attack. Heart disease is the #1 killer of American women. So now I take care of myself and tell the other women in my life to do the same. Make it your mission to save your life and the lives of the women you love. Find out more from the American Heart Association at goredforwomen.org.
How's it going? I'm having a stroke. Are you going to... And clear. Look for FAST, F, face drooping, A, arm.
Hi, this is Dr. Levi, your fitness doctor, making a personal house call, inviting you to join me Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific for my all-new show, The Dr. Levi Show. Join us as we discuss fitness, health, and well-being, including emotional and spiritual health. So don't forget to tune in to The Dr. Levi Show every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific, exclusively on latalklive.com and the Talk Live Broadcast Network. You can also catch us on iTunes, Radio R&B, or watch us on Ustream.tv, or catch us on the Live 365 network, and now on Radio Flag and Stitcher Radio. Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
We're back, and now, host of Here's to Your Health, registered pharmacist, educator for boron homeopathic medicines, Raphael Cohn-Bacri.
Good afternoon once again. This is Raphael, and my guest today, I'm very happy to welcome Dr. Payam Hakimi.
Hi, Raphael.
Hi, how are you today?
Great.
So, Dr. Hakimi, you're an osteopath by training, and you're also a board-certified family physician.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a integrative medical practice in Beverly Hills on Beverly Drive. Beautiful, by the way. So, you've come on the show before.
Yes.
And you explained what you were doing. And I think also maybe you want to give your website because it's a great resource and we can read all your credentials and everything you're doing in your practice.
Sure. Thank you very much for having me back again on your show. I think that's what we talked about last time. I'm just going to introduce myself quickly so that when we talk about our treatment segment today, we know why we're sort of going there.
Mm-hmm.
I am a family physician by training, and I have worked in urgent cares and emergency rooms and regular offices, as well as having the osteopathic background, basically treating the body manually. And as you know, I also do a lot of homeopathy, and I teach for the homeopathic course here with CEDH. And a lot of what I do is a combination of medical aspect as well as what we can do with osteopathy, homeopathy, and supplements to take care of issues in the body. My website is and practice name is Body of Harmony.
There's a lot.
Yes, right, and it tells a lot. And there is the YouTube channel for it. There is the Facebook. There's the Twitter. They're all Body of Harmony, and your audience can follow us on either of those.
I think your website is just bodyofharmony1word.com, right?
Exactly.
It's a very interesting, very resourceful website, and I think one of your something that's important to you is to educate and inform your patients and to tailor a specific plan to each of your patients, which is kind of unique.
Yes, it's looking at each person as an individual and not treating all. And today we're going to talk about headache.
Yes.
And not treating everything exactly the same way, or as a cookbook of, we're going to do certain thing first and then we're going to follow with something else and then the next thing. It's more of looking at each individual and see what's exactly going on with them and managing them rather than managing just the symptoms.
And that's why I imagine the consultation takes longer. And
only an hour and a half.
That's fine. It makes sense because you have to ask a lot more questions and really look back in the history of the patient. So
yeah, and I'll give you an example. I had a patient that came into the office to be evaluated for headaches, and he's had headaches for 2 years. He's had CT scans, MRIs, the workup, neurology workup, and
nothing.
No one could figure out what's going on, and literally during that hour and a half, and you obviously ask all the other questions: how much caffeine they drink, are they dehydrated or not, are they anemic or not. So obviously all of that had been worked up, and eventually after figuring it out, it was a complete puzzle. We figured out that he has been taking showers at night, and with wet hair he sleeps sort of under a window that was cracked open, which was causing the headaches in the morning, and no one could figure out why. So just asking all that question, we sort of got to so a lot of it is asking. In medical school they teach us, they say, your patients are jukebox. You just put your 25 cents in and they'll tell you everything as long as you
know how to listen and how to trigger an answer.
Yes.
So that's a great story. So he doesn't do that anymore, right?
No.
He bought her.
So that has become one of my questions now. Do you take a shower and sleep as part of the headache questioning?
So it went away.
Yeah, the headaches are gone. All we had to do is just change that habit.
Yes.
That was it.
Well, when we prepared this segment last week, we talked about what we could tell the listeners today, and we picked headaches because I guess it's very common. A lot of people suffer from headaches, and are they all the same, or do you distinguish? Migraines or allergies, or how do you start with someone who comes and tells you, I have a headache?
And the question is it a headache related to the vessels? Is it related to arteries or veins, which is what we call the migraine?
Okay.
The migraine type headaches. Is it related to an infection, which is the ear infections and sinus infections that happens in the face? Is the headache related to a nerve entrapment or a nerve problem, which is we get trigeminal neuralgia, and certain headaches, like even tension headache, is a sort of a nervous reaction, or congestion and spasm of the muscles, which causes this headache. And then the other thing is it a structural problem? Is it because of a deformity in the face? Let's say, is it TMJ? TMJ we know is an issue related to the joint not fitting properly or being misplaced a little bit, which is causing the pain. And I have
tell us about that.
I have brought my cranium to show you and tell you a little bit more about it. So first we have to figure out and see
why this is happening.
Where is this exactly? Where is it happening? And this is after doing a complete medical evaluation. And as we talked about, is it dehydration? Is it having too much caffeine, having too little caffeine? Or changes in habits that actually cause headaches. So after we look at all that, we rule all that out, then we have to go back and see, okay, well, now where's the headache actually coming from? And as we find the origins of the headache, then we can start treating it afterwards. Headache, as you said, is a lot of people have headaches, and it can be one-sided headache, two-sided headache, migraine headaches, headaches with tension.
Would you mind? I'm sorry, because
Sure.
migraines, it's a topic that really interests me because there are so many migraine sufferers in my, background, my family, and I remember my dad specifically would tell a friend, I know I cannot come, I have a migraine, and they would say, oh, me too, I have that very often, but it's not a migraine. They usually have headaches, and they think it's. How would you distinguish? How can you know if you're having a migraine or just a bad headache?
We have to go back to the classic definition of a migraine, which is having the aura, having visual changes, being sensitive to light, sensitive to noise, having the nausea or the vomiting, and needing to sleep for the headache to go away. That is the classic definition of migraine. However, again, a lot of people use migraine synonym as a headache. So whenever they want to say headache, they say they have a migraine.
Yes.
And that makes it sometimes tough on us, because once they come and see us as a first consult, we really have to figure out and see if it's a migraine or is it just a headache that we're dealing with. And for migraines, we use a lot of what
I'm trying to get a free consultation.
Of course. Of course. But you're more than welcome to come anytime.
No, I was thinking of my dad. Yeah.
I get it. So the migraines actually, as if we want to go straight to the treatment of it, is a relationship of the vessels and the arteries, are sort of the veins that are closing and opening, and as they sort of shrink, that causes a little bit of issues in the brain, which causes some symptoms, the eye symptoms and everything else. And then as they open up and the oxygen gets to the brain,
that's when the pain really...
Exactly. Another physiology starts in the brain, which actually causes the headaches. And we know that there are osteopathic treatments that we use, and the treatment is actually, or the treatment of headache is basically to make sure that the cranium is balanced. That means to make sure that all these joints are actually working properly. As we grow, we have, let's say we come out of the birth canal, and then our head goes through a specific situation where it's being squeezed and opened up, and we know that some kids get what we call craniosynostosis, which is these sutures sort of overriding each other and causing a misshape of the head. And then as we sort of age, we sort of fall, and we have traumas, and we have accidents, and so all of these issues that happen can actually move the structure of the head and the cranial bones.
Because even as an adult, the cranium isn't one piece, right? It can still move, and
The cranium is not one piece until we're 70, 75 years old. So until then, and not that it's a one piece, it's much tighter. Everything as we age sort of gets tighter and less flexible. And so until then, it's very easy to move things around in the head, and then as we age, it actually gets. So I like to get them very young. I have a lot of patients who are in the 3, 4, 5 month period, 5 month old, that come in because of the craniosynostosis, and then usually I tell my patients, as soon as there is a trauma, always come back. Getting a dental treatment on its own causes a little bit issues, because you're opening the jaw for a long period of time, and then there's a lot of pressure that's going on one side of the jaw, so it's actually turning and moving the joints around and these bones around. And we have a lot. So
you recommend the patients to come and see you after a long dental procedure? Oh, that's
after
great
the
advice. Yes.
Any kind of dental treatment, because it shifts the little tiny bones in the mouth and sort of around the mouth around, and also sometimes we get muscle spasm in the area, which actually causes a little bit of twist in the cranial bones, and we have a lot of people that come in and say, after I had this dental procedure, I've started having headache. And no one can figure out if it's related to the nerve, if the doctor hit the nerve. has nothing to. Well, sometimes it might be the nerve, but most of the time it's not the nerve itself. It's just the fact that the cranium has shifted. So all we have to do is obviously go inside the mouth and sort of open up these bones and balance them out and make sure that they're all moving properly and there's nothing that's sort of one-sided.
And Dr. Hakimi, you can just feel that with your hands. You don't need any X-ray or at that point when you do the.
You know what? Osteopaths' hands are X-rays. It is our three. It's our MRIs actually. We actually can get inside and feel everything in the body. Sometimes better than an MRI or an X-ray, because X-ray and MRI show you things in a two-dimensional aspect, but they don't show the functionality. Because once you touch someone's body, you see the functionality, you see where things get stuck and where things are moving better. And you also have this reaction and you know where they have pain. And these are the things that you cannot ever see on MRIs and X-rays.
Do you remember from one consultation to the other, do you see an improvement? You recognize just by touching if there's been an improvement?
Yes, it's because once you touch someone's body and you sort of remember a pattern that they have. It's a pattern that's in the body. So it's remembering that pattern and seeing how that pattern changes and shifts over time.
Oh, very interesting. Yeah. So TMJ and the jaw, it's one issue, very common. Right?
So TMJ jaw is one issue. The other thing is sinus infections, as well as ear infections. And we know that as kids grow, like some of the 2-3-year-old kids, 1.5-year-old, they get a lot of ear infections and they might need a surgery for ear tube insertion so that the infection can drain at all times. And we have been very successful with moving these bones, because what happens is the eustachian tube is slanted a little bit differently in a child than in an adult. So there's more backflow, there's more congestion, more fluid can stay in there, and where we have fluid and then our body has a lot of food anyways, so bacteria can start growing. So one of the things that's
why kids get more ear infection than adults, right? Okay.
So one of the things we can do is, by releasing the cranial bones, opening up the eustachian tube, we can take away that issue, that congestion that's causing the lack of flow that gets the middle ear to get filled up with fluid and then causing a subsequent infection. So as we remove that, their ear infections get much less, and we've been successful with a group of our patients to getting them to a point where they don't need to have surgery anymore.
That's great.
The other thing is sinus infections. Again, sinus infections are a lack of movement in the cranial bones, and we literally have patients that right after a treatment, they get up and they say, I feel much better, I felt something dripping in the back of my throat, and now I feel much more open and clear, and that helps out with their time of recovery, because the more the infection you can actually drain or clear from the area, the faster one person will get better.
So you need to see them several times, I guess, and every time it gets better.
Right, sometimes 2 or 3 times. There's not a lot of, because we see them every 2 or 3 days or 3 or 4 days, and we'll help out with clearing of the sinus infection. And obviously, I use homeopathic medication alongside with my osteopathic treatments. So a way of encouraging the physiology of the body to actually start functioning on that infection and increasing the immunity so that we can actually clear the infection.
And I think that's what makes your practice great. It's the combination of everything you know. And today we're talking about osteopathy and homeopathy, but to me it's like you're giving the treatment, the physical treatment, and then you're supporting it with homeopathy until the next time. It's just ideal.
It's the understanding that everything is limited. Medicine is limited, and acupuncture is limited, and osteopathy is limited, and homeopathy is limited. But as soon as you combine this group together, you actually get a better change in physiology. You get that physiology is going to change much faster than it would if you just use one of them.
Yes. And do you also sometimes use what called Western or conventional medicines?
Yes. If someone is there with a sinus infection which has been there for a while, and every time the sinus infection turns out to a bronchitis, I definitely use an antibiotic first just to clear. We don't want to mistreat our patients. We want to treat our patients. So first we get the infection out. And then the question is, why does this person get a sinus infection every year? Or why do they get a sinus infection every 6 months? And how much can we give them antibiotics? Because at a certain point, they're going to start having resistance to these antibiotics.
Which is a big issue nowadays.
Right? So it's figuring that out, and then figuring if it's because of the structure, is it because of their physiology, is it because their immune system is not functioning properly, is it because they're overworking themselves. So it's first getting rid of the infection. Second phase is, well, why does this happen? Let's figure that out and deal with that so that you don't get it anymore, because what's the point of giving you an antibiotic every 6 months or every year, and sometimes 4 times a year, right? And we've seen that before. So that's a lot of what I do, as you said, is supporting them with a treatment, then supporting them with a homeopathic medication that is specific for the issue that they're going through. And you know this better than I do, Raphael, but homeopathic medications are very specific. So if someone has a sinus infection of the sinus cavities, the frontal cavities, the maxillary cavities, and they have a green discharge, and they have this pain that's going around the eye socket, we use one medication for that, which is Kalium Bichromicum. And that I've been very successful with using that medication with my patients. A lot of my patients at this point are using homeopathy more than, I would say 80% of my patients are now using homeopathic medications of some sort because of the specificity. And again, we have that medication. We have another one that is also used. I use it for headaches, but that's more sinus infection with a feeling that the teeth are a little bit longer or the teeth hurt. And that would be Mesarium, another homeopathic medication, which are again all specific. Because if we use Kalium Bichromicum for a Mesarium pain, it's not going to work, and so it is very important.
No, I'm glad you're explaining that, because it's always difficult for me to make, especially physicians who don't know about homeopathy, when I try to tell them, it's not like I have a headache, I'm going to take Advil. It's different. Everybody reacts to the headache differently. Like you're saying, there are different causes, and you're not going to give the same answer to different problems. But you said it very well. It's very specific, and if you don't use the right one, it's not going to be dangerous, but it's not going to do anything.
It's not going to do. It's not going to work.
Yeah, it's not going to.
And that is I think that was the problem part of the problem with homeopathy back in the day in our country, was that sort of the same medication were given without asking enough specific questions to figure out what's going on with the patient. And if we don't have enough specific questions, we can't figure out what's going on. And as you said, we'll give you not that you give the wrong medication, you give a medication that's not going to have an effect on that person.
And then people are going to think, well, homeopathy doesn't work.
Exactly. So as you've seen so far, we've covered 2 medications for headache and sinus infection at the same time. There was another medication that I wanted to talk about. And since we talked about migraine headaches specifically, it's Cialis.
Very important. Yeah.
One of the and Apis, one of the medications that we use for migraine headaches. I've been very successful with migraine headaches in my practice with combining osteopathy and those couple of homeopathic medications, Cialis and Apis.
Use them as soon as they feel the pain is coming, right?
Again, it's a treatment for each patient, so I figure out exactly when they get their headache. Is this something that is chronic and recurring at the same time of every day or every week, or is it something that is just randomly? So we figure that out, and as soon as and so the medication is given related to that effect. So it's going to be different in each person. It's not going to be exactly the same thing. But I've been very successful with getting patients off of their Vicodins, their Neurantins, their Gabapentins, and
which is
regular.
Fantastic, because when you think of all the side effects, you cannot even drive a car when you're taking those medicines. So yes, you're getting less pain, but you still have to stay home. So it's a lot of work days. loss, a lot of pain, a lot of money. So I think it's a great option.
Yes, the combination of the two has been very, very successful so far in our practice.
And it's like, again, I like to remind people that it's like $8 or $10 for one tube. That's going to go a long way too. So it's something people should look into. Do you get people who have tried other things? A lot of your patients have tried other things before they come to you, or they come to you?
I have two group of patients. The first group is the group that's specifically looking for an osteopath or homeopath, and for an integrative medical doctor that sort of look me up and find me and come there. So we start the treatment from osteopathy and homeopathy. And I have another group who have basically tried different medical options, and at a certain point they were sitting at dinner sort of complaining to one of their friends that they have this headache that's not going away, and then my card was given away, and that's how they come in and see me. So depending on what each person is looking for.
And Dr. Hakimi, we have a few minutes. I'd like you maybe to tell us about what you do as a teacher, and also I've read that great article you put in Pero magazine, which is a fantastic new magazine. If you're a columnist now for the magazine, if you want to tell us, because people can look you up and learn more about all this.
Of course. Homeopathy Workshops is another Facebook page, but also a website I'm working on, but it's basically homeopathy made easy. It's explanation of what homeopathy is, and that article that you read was the introduction to homeopathy, and where did it originate and how it works and why we feel that way, and eventually to what it covers, and again I like this other part, what doesn't it cover? Because if we say homeopathy can treat everything, or osteopathy can treat everything, or medicine can treat everything, we know that is not true. So a lot of what I have done is also write in there what homeopathy cannot.
The limitations.
The limitations are very important, because once we start with something, we need to know what our limitations are. It's going to be monthly on Pero. I'm writing the second one, which is on Herring and Lachesis, and I'm calling it Herring and His Snake, which is basically the father of American homeopathy, and the different medications and the way and there's a long story about it. I'm just going to give a teaser, how he was sort of recruited to write an article against homeopathy as a physician, and then as he started doing more research and treating himself, he figured out that homeopathy actually works, and he sort of
that's a great story.
Exactly. Then he became a full-fledged homeopath, and the father of American homeopathy, and the founder of one of the biggest homeopathic schools in the world and the United States.
Yeah, we refer to him all the time. Yeah. And do you know the website? It's a digital magazine, right?
It's a digital magazine. It's a Pero magazine.
I believe it's
PERREAULT dash magazine.com, or if you Google my name or go to the Facebook pages, Body of Harmony, it's going to be on there as well. But the second one's coming up.
Yeah, it's a great magazine. It looks really good.
It looks great.
Congratulations on that. And what about the all the teaching you do? It's for physicians mainly, right?
The teachings are for physicians, because again we like to understand the limitations. We believe that physicians know where they can help someone and where they should draw the line and say, I'm going to refer you to somebody else. So, and they understand the pathophysiology of the body. So we basically I teach with CEDH, and we teach physicians, and we're all over the country. This year I've been to San Francisco and Fort Lauderdale and here, and we're also in Philadelphia and New York and starting in Canada and Texas, and so we're growing, and we are teaching a lot more physicians than what CEDH started with, and we're happy about that.
Yeah, it's amazing to see how the transformation, especially when you teach to physicians who didn't know much about it, and I talked to them afterwards. They're overwhelmed the the first day and they think they will never make it with all those Latin names, and you see them at the end and they're like, it's already finished. And so it's a great course. It's very important to do it.
Yes.
Dr. Hakimi, Payam Hakimi, give us again your website, maybe an address or phone number, whatever you want to leave us with.
Website is bodyofharmony.com, and my name is Payam Hakimi, and we can answer all your questions and refer us for anything. There's the Facebook page, the YouTube page, the Twitter. They're all Body of Harmony.
And you accept new patients?
Always.
Always. Thank you so much for being here, Dr.
Thank you very much
Hakimi.
for having me.
We'll leave you with some important messages, and Josh will be right back.
We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
It started out like a totally normal day.
I love you.
I mean, I guess I was a little sweaty and I was definitely sore. I thought I had gas. Turns out I was having a heart attack. Heart disease is the #1 killer of American women. So now I take care of myself and tell the other women in my life to do the same. Make it your mission to save your life and the lives of the women you love. Find out more from the American Heart Association at goredforwomen.org.
How's it going? I'm having a stroke. Are you going to shake my hand? I'm having a stroke. Wow, you're not even moving your arm. I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Young Connection, your one-stop connection for all your graphic design and commercial printing needs. Young Connection is a full-service printing and media design company dedicated to providing the highest level of customer service and satisfaction. Young Connection provides swift response and rapid turnaround services for banners, brochures, business cards, letterheads, church bulletins, funeral programs, flyers, logo design, posters, and much, much more, all at an affordable price. Young Connection, the official printing company of LA Talk Live. Give them a call at 310-491-3336. That's 310-491-3336, or visit their website at www.youngconnection.com. That's www.youngconnection.com. Young Connection Printing and Media Services, proud sponsors of LA Talk Live, where it's more than just talk.
Hi, this is Dr. Levi, your fitness doctor, making a personal house call, inviting you to join me Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific for my all-new show, The Dr. Levi Show. Join us as we discuss fitness, health, and well-being, including emotional and spiritual health. So don't forget to tune in to The Dr. Levi Show every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific, exclusively on latalklive.com and the Talk Live Broadcast Network. You can also catch us on iTunes, Radio R&B, or watch us on Ustream.tv, or catch us on the Live 365 network, and now on Radio Flag and Stitcher Radio. Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Hi, this is Elena, inviting you to join me every Wednesday at noon for Elena's Beauty Talk and more, exclusively on LA Talk Live. You can also catch us on iTunes, Radio, R&B, or watch us on Ustream.tv. Reality radio, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Hi, this is Starlet Quarles, and I'm inviting you to join us every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. for a new show right here on LA Talk Live, The Dialogue, Real Talk, Real People. Join us as we discuss the topics that are relevant to today's generational leaders. So don't forget to tune in to the dialogue, Real Talk, Real People, every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. right here on latalklive.com. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio R&B, Live 365, Radio Flag, and now Stitcher Radio. Or watch and listen directly at latalklive.com. Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Hello world, how you living? This is D Brex, your host of the all-new rap project here on LA Talk Live. That's latalklive.com, or you can find me on iTunes Radio in the R&B section. That's the rap project every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's Wednesdays at 7 p.m. West Coast time, so don't be late. On the Rap Project, I will be playing the very best of rap and hip-hop that goes beyond the ordinary. So connect with me, your host, D Brax, the rap connoisseur, on the Rap Project every Wednesday at 7, right here on latalklive.com, where we are more than just talk.
Hi, this is Dawn Christie inviting you to join me every Friday, 1 p.m. Pacific, for my all-new show, The Dawn Christie Show. Join me as I discuss love, spiritual readings, your purpose, why am I born, what am I here to do. So don't forget to tune in The Dawn Christie Show at 1 p.m. Pacific, exclusively on LA Talk Live. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio R&B or watch us on Ustream TV, reality radio, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Hi, this is Susie Pruden. And yes, you've seen me on Oprah, Good Morning America, and The Today Show. And I'm inviting you to join me every Monday from 3 to 4 for my new show, Mastermind Live. Join us as we introduce you to the new thought leaders of the world who will inspire you, support you, and guide you to your next level. So don't forget to tune into Mastermind Live exclusively on latalklive.com. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio R&B or watch us on Ustream TV. Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Hey everybody, it's your man Sabir Bey back on your airwaves, inviting you to join us every Tuesday, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Sabir Bey Show, discussing history, law, and hip-hop. Every Tuesday, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, the Sabir Bey Show, exclusively on latalklive.com. You also can catch us on iTunes Radio and R&B, Live 365, Radio Flag, and now Stitcher Radio. Or watch us and listen directly at latalklive.com. Reality radio, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
The very thought of you and I forget to do the little ordinary things that everyone ought to do. I'm living in a kind of daydream, happy as a queen, and foolish though it may seem, to me that's everything. The mere idea of you
longing here for you. You'll never know how slow the moments go till I'm near to you. I see your face in every flower, your eyes in the stars above. It's just the thought of you, the very thought of you, my love. The mere idea of you, the longing here for you. You'll never know how slow the moments go till I'm near to you. I see your face in every flower, your eyes in stars above. It's just the thought of you, the very thought of you. It's just the thought of you, very thought of you, my love.
Thank you for tuning in to LA Talk Live, reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we're more than just talk. Stay tuned.
It started out like a totally normal day.
I love you.
I mean, I guess I was a little sweaty and I was definitely sore. I thought I had gas. Turns out I was having a heart attack. Heart disease is the #1 killer of American women. So now I take care of myself and tell the other women in my life to do the same. Make it your mission to save your life and the lives of the women you love. Find out more from the American Heart Association at goredforwomen.org.
Hey everybody, it's your man Sabir Bey back on your airwaves, inviting you to join us every Tuesday, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Sabir Bey Show, discussing history, law, and hip-hop. Every Tuesday, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, the Sabir Bey Show, exclusively on latalklive.com. You also can catch us on iTunes Radio and R&B, Live 365, Radio Flag, and now Stitcher Radio. Or watch us and listen directly at latalklive.com. Reality radio, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Hi, this is Dr. Levi, your fitness doctor, making a personal house call, inviting you to join me Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific for my all-new show, The Dr. Levi Show. Join us as we discuss fitness, health, and well-being, including emotional and spiritual health. So don't forget to tune in to the Dr. Levi Show every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific, exclusively on latalklive.com and the Talk Live Broadcast Network. You can also catch us on iTunes, Radio R&B, or watch us on Ustream.tv, or catch us on the Live 365 network, and now on Radio Flag and Stitcher Radio. Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Joshua Lane, member of the board of directors of Dr. Ann Wigmore's Hippocrates Health Institute, Josh Lane was part of the Dr. Ann Wigmore team that brought wheatgrass, sprouts, and raw foods to a worldwide audience. And now the host of Here's to Your Health on LA Talk Live, Joshua Lane.
We're back. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Here's to Your Health on the LA Talk Live broadcast network. I'm your host, Joshua Lane. My guest this segment was to be Gary Null, who is just a remarkably important wellness teacher who's been writing, I think, since about 1970, and I've been reading him since about 1971 and 1972, and he just has a great track record of being right. Unfortunately, Gary Null has not called in, and so he's missed his shot here to be on the Here's to Your Health show on LA Talk Live. I do want to show one of his books from 2004, Power Aging, which, by the way, is very nicely done. He has a new one out now as well. So I apologize that Gary is not going to be on the air. If you have any questions and would like to contact the show, please give me a call, Joshua Lane, 818-707-0005. That's Josh Lane, 818-707-0005. Or you could email me, Joshua, Joshua, at latalklive.com. My email address and my phone number. So I apologize, Gary's not on, but after the show is over, I will get back with his press agent and give them a severe talking to. And I apologize, and we'll be back next week on Here's to Your Health, so please stay tuned.
Thank you for tuning in to LA Talk Live, reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we're more than just talk. Stay tuned.